Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Hey, hon, just went live. Okay, sorry about that. Um, anyway, yeah, we've only got a few people in the house getting started so far. Let me get everything all muted and everything. And that should do it. Let's see if we got an echo. Nope, that takes care of the echo. Okay, it's just showing an echo here someplace. Okay, so welcome, everybody. It's Wednesday afternoon, 2 o'clock here in Texas, and we've had a pretty good week here this week. I'll be darned if I know where that echo's coming from. Oh, got it. Okay, that'll take care of that. So let's say hello to everybody. Hi, Randy. I appreciate you coming in, Randy. It's nice to see you. And Adam. Hey, Adam. And Simone. Glad to see you here, Simone. I would have come to yours last week, but you got right on top of mine. You went half an hour after I started, so there wasn't much I could do. I had to continue through mine. Um, it's been a pretty good week so far here. I picked up a steel weed eater and a steel backpack blower. Every time I get a steel, I end up with a band-aid on my finger. I don't know how it happens, but somehow or another they bite me every time. But they both came out pretty good. Had one of those weeks where I did a video on the backpack blower and realized that halfway through the video it warmed up a little bit in the garage, so I took my jacket off and I didn't realize it, but my lapel mic was attached to the jacket. So when I went inside, hung the jacket up and went out and got to work, did the rest of the video, silence. It was the noise in my laundry room and that was it. But we all have those days, I suppose, don't we? John Perks. Hi, John. How you doing today? Yeah, I tell you, Simone, the rusty bolts and the vinegar just it's cheap. We've all got it, and it takes care of everything. So I found a couple of bad jokes along the way this week. Well, I was told one and found another one, and so I've got to tell them. The first one's probably my favorite, and it's probably best with a smaller crowd. Is how do you tell the difference between a mini skirt and a lawnmower? Well, put your hand under each one of them, and you'll find out for sure. Okay, I thought it was funny. So everybody's saying hi to everybody. I put the link out there, so feel free to jump up. I know it always starts. Yeah, yeah, I know it was bad. But it's pretty funny. Well, one of the other ones I had was I had to leave my girlfriend because I accidentally ran her feet over with the lawnmower and lactose intolerant. That one's even worse. Yeah, I do remember it, Randy. It's good to know it's working good. It's you'd expect it out of a new one though. Oh, okay. One more really bad joke. The I know bad jokes are what I've got. Yeah, yeah, Adam, they do get worse. Yeah, I pulled my weed eater out of the shed, getting it ready for spring and everything, and now it only runs on full choke, which is sort of bad because now I realize that my weed eater is officially kinkier than I am. I know, yeah, and they keep getting worse. See, this is the nice thing about doing 2 o'clock in the afternoon is you can tell the really, really bad jokes, the ones you don't want to tell anybody else. You don't want to, the ones you don't repeat in front of your pastor. Okay, so I've got the link out there. Hey, Simone, you want to jump up? Adam, you said you think about it, but you don't want the jokes to get even worse. So I need somebody else to come up here with me and come play. Yeah, Randy, well, modern washers work better than older ones do. But I found that Adam, how you doing, buddy?
All right, how's things?
Oh, it's a normal Tuesday for me. It always starts out a little bit quiet in here when we first get started. So I saved up some bad jokes for this one.
Well, I saw your quantum video this morning, and because I've got a quantum in bits at the moment, and I thought, well, that's a bit funny on at the same time, and that I'll get a quick watch. So I'm watching that this morning.
Well, yeah, I tell you, I love the quantums because they go together and come apart so easy. You'll hear some people complain a little bit about the auto choke on the quantum, but I prefer the auto choke over the primer every single time because with the primer, if you don't have that little gasket on the front just exactly perfect, the primer doesn't work at all.
Ah.
Where the auto choke, all you have to do is make sure it's oiled decently. The little flat moves decently.
Well, I've got one in bits at the moment. I've got a starter off it. I think I don't know if you saw me. I put it on a post the other day. But it's got a reduction gearbox on it.
Yeah.
And well, it's off a quantum. I've just stripped that into bits and cleaned it up and got that working.
You mean the drive gearbox, right?
No, it's got a starter motor with a reduction gearbox for
Oh,
flywheel.
gotcha on the starter.
Yeah, it were an oddball because it's got 22 teeth on it.
I've never been a big fan of electric start lawnmowers. It just seems like carrying a battery around and shaking it the way lawnmowers get shaken.
That's it.
Yep.
So I've been messing about with that, like I say. Um, that's been my week, and obviously, as most of us, waiting for bits.
Yeah, when I see them, because I do purely flipping, and not that I actually make anything on them very often, but I do it mostly just for the fun of doing it. And when I see one with a starter, I usually walk away because just the price of the battery will end up making me go into the red by the time I sell it because we just don't get much for an electric start mower here.
Don't you?
And with a quantum, of course, if you get everything right, it'll start first pull anyway.
Why? How much are they worth over there, built electric starts?
Um, well, you won't get much extra for an electric start mower than you would for a regular mower.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're lucky and you get a really good looking mower, self-propelled and everything,
Yeah.
and it's a name brand, of course, the quantum motor goes on 9 different mowers.
Mm.
You might get 150 for it if it's a name brand
Yeah.
and it looks really nice, but you can usually count on about 100 and a quarter.
Yeah. I'm going to say they're about 100, 250, I would say, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
That's like
about
on
what
a
I go for here.
Mountfield electric start, but it's one I picked up dirt cheap, and it's one that I'm doing up for my friend, basically, give them. So it's a bit of
Yeah.
a project.
Well, I usually, when I'm buying them, I top out at about 30 or 35, $40 buying them
Yeah. That's
because you're
about
going to
the same area.
spend, yeah, you're going to spend X amount of money getting them running again. It's like you're almost guaranteed to spend at least money on at least one cable
Yeah.
because the cables get old and everything. You'll end up replacing wheels and there's another $30 out the window. You know,
Soon all profit's gone.
Yeah, pretty soon the profit's gone. Yeah, it's like the quantum I had on that video. I only paid $20 for it, and because it's a push mower, I usually wouldn't even pay that much for it.
Mm.
Give me just 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Anyway, yeah, the little push mower I got, when I saw it wasn't self-propelled, I thought, if I pay $20 for this and then just put a cable on it, I'm up to $38.
Mm.
And then the little other riffraff it gets, like an air filter, now you're up to $45. And the truth of it is, in Texas, it'll hit 110, 112 in the summer, which in Celsius, that's approximately hot.
Yeah.
I don't know the number, but it's big, whatever it is.
Well, 30. It's about 35 degrees in it, something like that. 32 degrees. But I agree with what you said though. Like sometimes you've with people that's like you said, you get them off. Sometimes you have to take a hit on summit to get the next one, if you understand what I mean.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah. This guy, the guy that sold me the mower, also sold me a steel backpack blower for, I think, $30 or $35.
Yeah.
Needed an ignition coil, and that's what I was saying. That's what got me here. But yeah, it needed an ignition coil, but that's easy peasy on those things. When I bought it, the little ignition wire was sticking out, and the little cap was gone off of it.
Yeah.
So the whole top was gone. So it's like, what is it, $30 for a aftermarket coil for it? Started up first. I had to replace the coil and the little choke lever, which is a little round thing on the steels. So yeah, it came out really great.
Are we any further on with this go-kart?
I'm welding. I am welding. I don't want to put out 19 videos of getting it together.
No, I
but
understand
as soon as this ends, I'm actually running off to the store because I need to poke a hole in the metal to mount the motors. So I've got a functional frame. It's not beautiful, but it's not going anywhere. And I figure it's only got to last me for a day, because once I run it with the 2 strokes, the truth of it is I'm putting the Predator back on it because that thing's a beast. Unless I come up with a better combination, I might try an electric motor before I stop.
What do you think it's going to do with two strokes on it?
Well, the nice thing is it'll triple the RPM that I'm running at, which means that I can cut the gears in a third of what they are.
Yeah.
So my complete lack of torque, I'll only have 2 or 3 pounds of torque tops with the Weed Eater motors. And the lack of torque is okay because I'll make it up in gearing.
Yeah.
As a person wiser than me once said, give me a lever, a big enough lever and a fulcrum, and I can move the world.
Yeah.
And we're going with that. I'm gonna gear it up and gear it up and gear it up until it's got some acceleration. And then I'm thinking I can get 20, 22 miles an hour out of it with 2 Weed Eater motors.
Yeah. It's a bit
scary.
Scary from 2 little engines, isn't it?
Yeah, just as a quick preview, I do have this in the video. I had it up to 30 with the Predator motor on it. I turned the governor down a little bit, and 30, it still runs straight as an arrow. It runs great. No alignment issues. It's got slicks on it. It's got race tires on it, so it's good for that speed. It's terrifying. It is just terrifying being that close to the ground at that speed.
Trouble is, with one of them Predator motors, it's going to be like Back to Future, flames coming outside the car and gone.
Yeah, I know. I thought to myself, I said, when I had the sticker made, the a la carte sticker for it, I said, I should have gotten flames for it too and put flames on the floorboards. Now it does have a body, a race car body.
Oh, to go over it. Yeah.
That body says Valvoline. It's number 6. It's blue and white. It's a little banged up, but I thought about putting it on, and I thought, no, it's a little bit more fun when it's down to just the very basics.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
a whole lot more terrifying than it's down to just the very basics when you're running along. Because even though the fiberglass wouldn't save you, it gives you a feeling that somehow this might keep me alive if I hit something.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It won't. You're going to die if you hit something at 30 miles an hour with no helmet on.
It's a bit like Formula One. I follow a lot of Formula One, you see, and that's same. Obviously, I know it's all carbon fiber and it's a totally different thing, but you're in theory sat on a go kart, 15 mil front bottom at ground and doing 200 mile an hour. In
Yeah, I
theory,
know.
I know there's a lot
And
of safety involved with it, but
yeah, I
doing
got to
that
sit in an
speed,
Indy car once. I didn't get to drive it, but I got to sit in it. I'm from Indianapolis,
yeah,
and yeah, I lived there well, I moved from there to Texas. But yeah, just sitting in the car and trying to imagine. I mean, it feels lower than the go kart, and
yeah.
you're all wrapped up where from here down is all car, and from here up is just your head. And you just think the Indy cars on the Indy 500 track have gone 324 miles an hour. 324. That close to the ground. 324. I can't even imagine that.
I mean, it's like, well, speeds you've done in your car. I don't know what you've done, but or here I've done quickest I've done is just about 125 going down a motorway, and that was scary. And that's in some of the
125 miles an hour.
yeah.
125 is flying. You'll hear a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, I had my car up to 160." All you can do is smile and say, "No, you didn't." you
I,
know?
this were well, let's say a souped up car that I'd bought. Didn't know it at the time, but took it down motorway. Obviously, before all speed cameras were in and all that lot, you
Yeah.
couldn't do it now. Okay, hell, but I think it's a car pulled out from middle lane to what we call fast lane or outside lane, and I bet you it took me that speed. I bet you it took me a mile to stop,
I'll bet. The
which
fastest
we're
I've
all on done with in seconds.
the fastest I've ever gone in a car is 199, and that was
Oh,
on a racetrack. And even with a straightaway a little over a mile long, I was absolutely sure I was going to die by the time I got to the next corner the whole way around. And they kept saying, "You almost hit 200. You got to do it again, a little faster, a little faster." I said, "Nope." I said, I would love to be able to say I went 200, but I missed it by that much. And I said, "Nope, I'm done. I'm fresh out of stomach. I'm out of balls. I can't go faster than that."
yeah, yeah. I think we speed. It doesn't matter whether it's motorbikes, cars, whatever. Well, not on road now, but I think your own brain says this is too fast, if you
Yes.
know what I mean, and says, well, even though you're in something safe, your brain just says no faster.
Yeah, yeah, you really do. And I told them it's like when they said, if you put just a little bit more, if you come out of that corner a little bit better, you've got enough car. You can do it. And the mechanic's saying, I did the math on it. That car will go 211. He says, so you're missing just a little bit of speed. And it's like, I said, you don't know, no. I said, no, I went faster than, and this is with help of professionals trying to get me around the track faster. And I said, and it was a 2.5 mile track. It was a huge track. I said, I can't do it. I don't have the stomach for it. I'm out of guts, I said, I did that last one as a kamikaze lap, and it was both feet on the brakes going towards the corner at the end. I was done going fast. Yeah, Robert's saying, yeah, they race Indy cars in the rain. Yeah, I see that, and it just makes my head hurt. And I see them not even just so much on the Indy cars, but on Formula One cars where they're doing tracks that have more than left-hand turns going
Yeah,
in the rain. Or you see
yeah,
motorcycles racing in the rain.
yeah. It's a
And
big. I don't know. I don't know what it's like across here, but motocross is a big thing across here.
wait, motocross is okay though. You're in the mud,
Well, yeah,
and it
but
slows you
it's
down a good bit. You get a
but
street
that
bike, get 1,000 cc street bike, running at 160 in the rain, and it's like my heart can't do that. I'm too old for that. I'm too aware of my mortality, I guess.
I think yeah, you're probably right. I think when you're a bit, well, let's say when you're a bit younger, when you're younger, you don't have this fear. But as you get old, you think, oh, do you know what I mean? You don't.
No,
You get
yeah.
more fearful as you get older.
I think what it is you've had a lot of years to accumulate things, and you don't want to lose all your things. It's like, I've been saving up stuff for a long time now. I'd hate to lose it all because I made a bad left.
Yeah.
And I always say, you know, one of our little jokes around here is I say, you know, when I die, the first line in my will is going to say that you have to follow all the steps in my will or nobody gets anything. And the very first, you know, I said, I'm going to donate it all to a charity that does nothing but paint dogs orange or something foolish like that. I said, and the first line in the will is going to say, I want to be cremated, but first I want to be decapitated, and then I want my head put in a cannon, and then I want you to take that cannon to my ex-wife's house and shoot it at her. I know that's a bad joke, right?
But they get. Bill, you know, on one of your videos, I can't remember when I saw it. I think a couple of weeks back. I think when you first started doing go-kart, actually.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been nosy, and I don't want people to think I've been. I noticed in your garage you've got a sports car of some kind. What is it?
Yes, that's a Corvette. It's a 1998 Corvette.
Right.
Yeah, it was the number 3, I think, pace car
for
the Indy 500.
Oh, that's what I said. That's what when I saw
that's
it.
What all the colors are down the side.
That's what I noticed. I thought it looks like a race car, as in, like you said, something like Indy 500.
Well, it's not really a race car. It's got street tires on it, and it doesn't have a full roll cage or anything or you'd want in a race car.
Yeah.
And I've already discovered if you try to hold her wide open for a really long time, 2 things. Number 1, you'll go 199 miles an hour. That was with race tires on it, though. That wasn't with street tires. And the second thing is it does start getting hot after you run it for a little while at speed.
Now, when I just saw in background when you started doing that, and I thought that's a nice car. I wonder, how, like you do, I wonder how you've come across that.
No, when I watch videos, I tell you, sometimes I like the background just as much as the video. And it's like, oh, cool, he's got one of those. That's a cool tool. or oh, I wish he would have stopped on that car for a minute. You know, I would have loved to have seen that car for a second. You know, things like that all the way through it. But
it would just,
yeah, I try to keep the car out of the video. And, you know, like if you look back for the first 8 months of videos, that you'd never see it at all. And it was just it was too much work, you know, moving the cameras around. So it was out of the video. And I finally said, forget about it. I said, it's a car. Nobody cares except for real guys. You know, real guys say, ooh, hot rod.
Do you do outweigh, or is it just there, sort of like a collection, or you collect it in, or does it ever get used for out, or drive it?
No, I drive it.
You drive it?
Yeah, and I firmly believe that convertibles should not be driven with the roof up. Always top down.
Yeah. Unless you're in UK, and when it's belly top up because it's always pissing it down.
Well, there are days in Texas where I'll go out in the morning, and then, you know, and it's 80 degrees, let's say, in the morning. And by the time I'm out and about, before I can get home, it's 105. Then I put the top up and put the air conditioner on. You know? Yeah. But we joke around that when you see people running down the road in 55 or 58 degree weather or 60 degree weather with a convertible with the top down, so yeah, they just got that car. Yeah. Nobody who's had a convertible for a long time runs around in cold weather with the top down. You know? Looks like the rest of these guys don't want to come up today.
How many we got in?
Well, we've been bouncing around between 11 and now it's at 7. And in 2 minutes, it'll be at 12, and it goes up and down. You know how that works.
Well, like I said, that's why I've come up. I thought last week weren't that bad. Thought I'll get another try because I know, like I say, I know it's quite getting started. And
yeah.
But you're on about Winter Sundays, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I'm going back and forth, and I figured when we've got the biggest number we've gotten here, we'd take a vote on it.
Right.
But I'm sort of thinking either Thursday. Now this is rough because I have to find a time that works with my weekend schedule. to
Yeah.
make Sunday happen
Yeah.
because we travel a lot on the
Right.
weekends.
Yeah.
A lot, like we might run halfway across country.
Couldn't you do a Friday?
Well, on Friday, my wife's an aerospace auditor.
Oh,
So
shit.
usually she's traveling during the week. You know, our driveway's not big enough for an airplane, so she has to go where they are. You know, but usually she travels during the week and then on Friday she comes home. So the trick is she comes home at a different time on Friday every week.
Yeah.
So I can't really find unless I were to move it to 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night. She'd be coming home sometime during that. And
Yeah.
now keep in mind, my wife's been gone for a week and she just got home. Love you guys, but I like her better. You know how that works.
Have you got room finished?
The room downstairs?
Yes.
Yes, actually, you'd never know that there were vents in the walls or any of that. I'm sure I got a picture of it somewhere, but I didn't move it over to the computer. But yeah, the wall is next week. I'll put it up. The wall is completely one color. There's perfect texture, perfect paint. You'd never know there were vents there. And the best part is there's no wires going to the TV because they all go inside the wall and come out through the back.
Yeah, I like that idea. It's all right, but if you haven't put no in, like you say, tuber out, a lot of people put them in walls, and then when they don't undab them, they get them stuck in walls and they can't get them back down.
Oh, with the wires?
Yeah.
Well, you want to hear something funny? When I was doing the vents, there were steel vents inside the wall in the top corners that went with an air conditioner system that was no longer there.
Yeah.
I removed the air conditioner, and then the part of the wall where it dented out where the air conditioner was, I flattened that part of the wall out and made it flat, but didn't remove the vents until I started on Monday of last week. When I was working on taking the vents out, I had to get inside the wall, reaching in the little hole of the vent and trying to get the aluminum or steel rather vent to let go so I could flatten it out. And I dropped my flashlight down inside the wall.
And it's still there.
It's still there. That flashlight's going to die inside the wall. That's just how it is.
I was once fitting some lampposts on a job, and because there's that much gap for these terminals to put armors in, what you do, you push them in, and you push them in with back of your screwdriver. And I'd done about 20 of them. I get to this 21st, and I pushed it in, and driver went straight down the lamppost, straight to the bottom. That would end of that.
All the way down the whole length of a lamppost.
What were it? 8 meters.
25 feet. Yeah.
Weren't taking that out. It's gone. Somebody in 2000 years going to be digging up round there and go, what's this?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, my the long LED flashlights, the yay big around with the long bar of LEDs on it. I said, somebody's going to find that in 20 years and they're going to go, huh, this was when LEDs were cool.
Yeah.
That's what'll happen.
Yeah, you just think, well, that's end of that. I'm not too much hassle to get it back out.
Well, because I'm really handy with drywall, I thought, I could cut a little rectangle out, yay big at the bottom of the wall, and then put a brace behind it and then screw it back on and putty it because I'm puttying anyway. And then I thought, no, you know something? That's an $8 flashlight. I'll go get a new $8 flashlight.
That's what I said. About a $5 or something like that, English money. It's like you say, it's $8-10. It's not worth all hassle. Probably cost you more to fill it.
Well, now when you buy the joint compound to fill it, if you spend time doing drywall, it's super easy to use the same joint compound for everything. You thin it down and you use it for texture. You thick it up a little bit to do joints and seams and things. I use the same thing for everything, and it's only $11 for 40 pounds of it. Yeah. That's a lot of joint compound, and the container always goes bad before I use it all up. But I always say, if you're buying little jars, they cost $8 or $9. Yeah. Or, the one bigger than your head is $11.
Yeah. It's a no-brainer as such.
Oh, it really is. So we need to, let's do our name that tool thing. Those are fun. And I found
Well,
one. I actually took a picture from one, but I've got one of these in my box somewhere. Oops. Oops, I did select tab. Hang on. Share screen. Oh, they added a new option. Okay, now I've got one of these in my box, but I don't know if everybody does. And to me, it's an easy one. Now I'll say I use mine probably every third job, but I don't usually use it on small engines, but I'll use it every third job when I'm working on a car or something along those lines, or a tractor.
it looks like to me like some kind of throttle cable puller.
It kind of does. Yeah.
Like you hook it in and pull it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see if somebody comes up with a good guess for this one. It's one of the good hints is if you've got one, you'd recognize it off the bat. But when you find out what it is, you'll probably want one.
I'm sure dentist used something like that on me last month.
It's a cheap tool, and unlike last week was something that I made myself because I needed that particular tool. But this is a standard issue commercial tool. That might say Craftsman on it. I think it looks like a Craftsman.
Has anybody got any idea that's in chat? Can't see chat at the moment.
Nah, neither can I. I've got to hop over, put my window back on top. A sheet metal folder. That's a good guess.
I didn't think of that. Oh,
That's a good guess. No, it's simpler than that. Actually, you could use it for now that I look at it. You probably could use it for that. It might come in handy. That's a really good guess, but that's not it. It's a different direction. It's a very mechanical tool. Hey, Tommy, how you doing? We're playing Name That Tool. And we've got what I think is an easy one. And I put the picture of the whole tool on it because it's one of those that if you have one, you'll love it. If you don't have one, then you'll probably want one.
Do you use it on just lawnmowers or trimmers and all?
I have used it on a lawnmower, but normally, in a case of a lawnmower, I can get to it with the impact gun. And if you can get to it with an impact gun, this is not helpful anymore.
I think that's confused me more.
It's a curious piece, isn't it?
It's that piece on bottom that's confusing me more than out.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. And when you realize what it is, you'll see that it's obviously the only way you could have designed it. I'll give you a hint. The piece that's facing down in the center here,
yeah,
looks very much like this, but it doesn't have to. Yeah, Sparky, it's not a cable tool. It's not any sort of a cable tool.
No,
Oh, that's yeah, that's really close. That's really close. It's not it, but it's really close. You're going the right direction. He's guessing a brake remover of some sort, like an auto brake tool.
No, it can't be.
Well, auto brake tools have some really odd shapes.
No, it's not for setting gap on brake, is it?
No, and it doesn't have anything to do with cables. Oh, good guess, Tommy. No, it's not.
Oh.
But you could use this while taking the blade off of a mower.
Is it a spring release tool?
No, it's not a spring release tool. That's another good guess. You probably could use it that way.
You know what I mean? Just get it in and hook it and pull it.
It's simpler than that. No, it's not specific to a job. It's not specific to brakes. It's not specific to cables. It's a tool you would use on almost any job, but more likely on a car than on a mower. But you might use it to take the wheels off or the blade off of a mower, or something where you need a little bit more oomph. That's a big hint.
Yeah, turn it.
Now, another hint, this curve here is necessary to make enough room to use it. Oh, Sparky, you're really close on that. You're really close when you say pry bar.
I'm going to say, is it to go on like lawnmower blade and I don't know, somehow locks it up?
It's not specific to a job though. You would use it on a car more often than you would on a mower. But I have used it to take blades off and things like that.
Is it some kind of gapping tool to you slide it between something and it gives you gap so you've got some equal on both sides?
No, that's a good guess. But when Sparky guessed pry bar, he was really close. Pry bar is really close. Oh, Tommy's got it. Tommy's got it. It's a wrench extent. It's a regular spanner or wrench extension tool. You put your wrench here, and then this has a hook just like this on the other side, which makes it longer to give you more leverage to turn a bolt.
All right. Never seen one of them before.
Yeah, I've actually got one, and I've used it to take blades off before I got the impact gun, because I didn't want to go to the effort of getting the air tools out. But yeah, it's basically, and I forget that, you call them spanners, we call them wrenches. But yes, yeah. It's nothing more than
I can see it now you've mentioned it.
You see it now?
I see it when now you've told me. I can see it, but yeah.
Yeah, because you can flip the wrench around, and the little groove here is necessary for the other end of the wrench to fit in.
Yeah.
It's easy to see. Once you see it, it's easy to see.
You got any more, Bill?
No, I only came up with that one, and I looked around quite a bit to try to find a fun tool that I could show a whole picture of. Mm. They're a lot more fun. I see a lot of guys do it, and they'll show part of a picture of one, and you sort of have to put it together.
Yeah.
When it's something like that, where you can show the whole tool and say, okay, figure it out. It's just a lot more fun that way, you know?
I know what you mean. If you just show like cornering it, you're like, well, what is it?
Yeah, yes, very much. Yeah, it's like, it could be this, it could be that, but, it could be, a duck holder for all we know, if you're only showing one little piece of it. If I showed one piece of that, we could have guessed until we were 80. But Tommy used his imagination on this. And Sparky was giving some good guesses. And I was actually thinking, when he said pry bar and when he said belt adjustment and brake tool, it was like, I could use this as a brake tool. I really could.
But
where are you at, Tommy? Tommy wants to know what he won.
So have you done these two still? That still blower and that strimmer, with it?
Yeah, I did the video on the blower. Like I said, I turned off my I had my microphone clipped to my jacket and took my jacket off and put it inside the house halfway through the video. So I've got no audio for the second half of the video. I thought about dubbing over it, but it's just not my style. Some people like to do that. They'll do the video first and then speak over it later into their boom mics.
Yeah. Anybody else want to come up?
Yeah, no kidding. These guys are being slackers today.
Give me a second.
Yeah, Sparky, tell me you don't want one of those now for more leverage. There's a lot of times when the wrench just isn't long enough, and we all stuff pipes on the end of wrenches and things like that to try to get more leverage when you can't get an impact gun in there. Yeah, when I was 10 years old, I started taking things apart, or 8 years old. And then when I went to school, I ended up working on small engines just to get my way through school. So when I retired, this was the way to go. Well, as I told my wife, it's like I didn't know what I was going to do. I knew I wanted to make videos. I needed something to point a camera at.
What did you do? What did you do work-wise, Bill? Before
I was
this?
a software engineer.
All right.
A software engineer is a computer programmer with way too much experience. And that's how we joke. My son is 2 years out of college now, and he's a computer programmer. I told him you'll become a computer programmer, then you become a software engineer, then you become a senior software engineer. It's the same guy who's just been doing it longer.
Yeah.
After 20 or 30 odd years of doing it. Yeah, lucky enough, I became a software engineer. We used to say when I was in school, the teacher sat down and he told us in no uncertain terms. He said, one, maybe two of you guys are going to make it. And he says, but that's okay though, because half of you will be gone by the end of the semester. And he was right. We started with 16 people in that class for my first computer programming class. And we finished with 5. He was rough. He was the best teacher to have for your first time in college learning software, because he was rough. He didn't take anything but correct for an answer. I actually had a book answer and a better answer that wasn't in the book because I studied night and day and night. And he gave me half credit for the question, even though he knew both answers were right, because the first one was the one he expected. And I said, but look, on the test I wrote down, this is the one you expected, but here's the better answer. Here's a better answer. And he says, yes. And the first answer was correct. So I'll give you credit for that. I'll give you half credit for that. But you added an answer that was not in the book. I said, is it correct? And he says, it is correct. We took it to the dean of teachers. I got full credit for that question. It took 4 hours on a test that was an hour long to get my, but it was for a perfect score. It was the difference between a 96 and a 100. My job was to wreck the curve,
Whereabouts did you do that at, Bill?
I went to AppTech, and yeah, not exactly what you would call a big school, but we had a football team,
Yeah.
When my son went to college, he went to Midwestern State University here in Wichita Falls, which again is not a giant school, but we went to a lot of the giant schools and looked around because he was coming out of high school with really good grades and all that. And I wanted to get him in a school that he'd really like. And just the personality of that school was everything. And then in every school we went to in our little tour of colleges for him, we went to a football game. It just happened with Midwestern State. When we went to the football game, it was their homecoming game. It was against a rival that they hated. And they happened to have the number 2 rated in the nation Division II college football team. The score was, I think, 63-7 at halftime. Yeah, they sort of beat the other team bloody. And it was like, this coach doesn't let up. And the coach pointed out, the coach actually, you could hear him yelling on the field in between plays. And he's pointing out, he says, I don't know who else to put in. Everybody I put in scoring touchdowns.
My mate follows American football. I don't.
Well,
I used to when I was a lot younger, but I don't nowadays.
Now, I'm a basketball fan more than a football fan. Love basketball. I like football, and it's fun to watch. But the team that's my favorite football team tends to live in the cellar lately.
Who's that?
The Colts, Indianapolis Colts. I'm from Indianapolis. That's where I was born. And we had our glory days. But I remind myself, when I first started cheering for them, they never won a game. When they first moved to Indianapolis, it was 1984 or 7 or something like that. And they never won a game. They were terrible. They were go like 2-12 or 2-12 or 1-13 for years on end. And I was a fanatical fan. And then they started winning. And I was, of course, a big fan when they started winning. And then just like the organization went to hell in a handbasket.
What's happening here? Give me a minute. What's happening here? That's it.
Yeah, I don't know why none of these guys want to come up today.
Every day is a learning day.
Well, every day's different. Yeah. And we're getting ready to switch off to some sort of evening or weekend hours. Now, I don't want to do the evening, partially because, you know, my UK guys aren't going to come if it's at midnight, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll lose everybody, and I don't want to do that.
I mean, it's like Concord does Saturday night, so you like you say, you don't take it away from.
I can't step on Concord.
No, I'm not saying you would. I'm just saying you don't do that. So you've got to try another night, like you say, a Sunday or a Friday or whatever suits you.
And that's what I was originally thinking about. And I thought, you know, even with my trips and everything, I'm thinking about 2:00 Sunday as the best time.
2:00 your time.
2:00 my time.
8:00 here.
8:00 there. Yeah, it lets people get out of church here.
And it lets people have had the tea here.
Yeah, exactly. And it lets you have dinner and get your jammies on before you watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a jammies panel one night. That would be funny, actually. But yeah, I've had a lot of people in the UK say, you know, that it's hard to make the stream because it's, you know, middle of the day here.
Well, I think in week over here, like you said, this time, it's obviously people working through the day, and then they get in from work, sit down, have the tea, and it's 7:00, and I don't know, time with Mrs. whatever it be. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not. It's weekend or Friday onwards, they're more chilled out and they've got more time. If you understand what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why I was thinking Sunday afternoon. It allows my compatriots here to come, but it lets all the guys in the UK come. The only person that leaves out is my buddy over at Vintage Engine Repairs, Tom. Yeah. And I like Tom, and I'd love to get a time that he could come in too. But it's just
what's time difference between yours and Tom's?
He's 14 hours ahead of me. So that means, yeah, if I do 2 in the afternoon, that's 4 in the morning there. But if I push it much later, then everybody in the UK is gone. If I push it much earlier, then everybody here's at church on Sunday. So it's like it's hard to win. It's hard to find a good time.
Everyone, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't know that it was that far ahead. I knew there were a big time difference, but I didn't know how far it were.
Yeah, it's 14 hours from Texas to him. So, you know, as much as I would love to have him on, not much I can do. Oh, and I told him I was going to give him a shout out today. He just did a short. Let me find his comment here.
What, that little engine that we're doing 590 RPMs or something?
No, a guy, Haney Okie 14. Super nice guy. And he's one of my subscribers, and he went from being not particularly brave working on engines. You know, he didn't want to do anything much past spark plugs and things. He watched a few videos about chainsaws and leaf blowers and weed eaters and whatnot. And he got brave and tackled his hedge trimmer. And he sent me an email a couple of days ago. And he said, you're helping when you don't even know it. And then sent me a little short of his hedge trimmer starting on the first pull. And it's like, I tell you, makes my day when I see something like that. You know, it's like, you know, I made a difference for somebody. And that's all the videos and everything, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, yeah.
You want to
And
do them. You want to do
yeah,
them for the guys that work on motors all the time. But the truth of it is most guys don't, and they need help above and beyond. It's nice to know how to gap a ring,
yeah.
but your standard guy working on Saturday is not going to be gapping a ring.
Mm,
He might be willing to take a carburetor off or maybe replace a fuel line, but if I explain to him, the internals of a two-stroke carburetor, they're going to
yeah,
go straight over his
yeah,
head.
yeah,
So that's why in the videos I stick with, if it's a two-stroke, you can buy an aftermarket carburetor for $12. Just go buy an aftermarket
yeah.
carburetor. Or like for the Quantum engine, there were a lot of things that I like to do to those engines on this last video I just made.
Mm,
But I tell myself, it's like, okay, I'm a guy working in his garage. What do I want to see in a video? If I've never touched a lawnmower before and never opened it up, but the thing won't start, what do I want to see? I want to see what could cause this. And I thought, and what are the two things that cause it the most? Lucky enough, this motor had both problems.
yeah,
Well, the kill cable was half dead. It was duct taped together.
yeah,
So I said, I'm going to go ahead and explain that and replace that. And then we're going to pull the bowl off the car and not pull the bowl off, pull the jet out of the bottom of the
yeah.
carburetor, because you can get away with that. Normally, on a Quantum engine, you can take that bolt out and have the bowl stay in place.
Is that all that really goes wrong with them quantum carbs? Just that jet?
The cleaning up that jet will fix 99% of them. The other,
Because obviously, this one I've got in bits at the moment. I've got engine off it and all sorts, but obviously, you do it with any machine anyway. Just get a good clean out. Because and I just thought when I seen that video, I thought, I wonder if I can just get away with like you did, just undoing jet and doing it on deck. Because usually when I do generators, I completely strip them down, clean them out, put them all back together.
now it's good for the carburetor, and it's better to clean it head to toe.
Yeah,
But remember, a lot of guys out there don't have an ultrasonic, and you
yeah,
don't want to think about them drowning themselves in brake fluid out in the driveway, spraying it, and with flammable stuff all over the place. And the truth of
I've
it
no
is
ultrasonic out
that
like that. I've
just
just
cleaning the jet will fix 99% of them.
yeah,
Yeah, and you saw that wire I use. I got a roll of it for $1 at the dollar store here, and
yeah.
it's the wire they use to create flower things for flower
I,
stores.
I've got something similar what I use on my allotment.
Yeah,
Exactly the same stuff.
it's floral wire is what they
Yeah.
call it. We call it Christmas wire here because we use it to hang Christmas decorations, but it's floral wire is the actual name of it. It's the same color as a Christmas tree.
Yeah. But like it was just coincidence that we'd be doing it, and I just like I said, I caught that video and I thought, well, I'm going to watch this because it's engine that I've got.
Yeah,
And going back to what you were saying, it's from where I'm sat, it's informative, and you think, well, do you know what I mean? And that's why you subscribe to people because, like
exactly.
yourself, because you think, well, that's informative. See what else has got coming out, and one thing leads to another, like you said. Before you know it, you subscribe to 20, 30 people.
Yeah. I'm subscribed to 52 people.
Mm.
I'll see you later, Simone's. Thanks for coming by.
But yeah,
Yeah,
like you
believe me,
said,
Tommy, I have a lot of Homer Simpson moments too. And somebody caught me. Yeah, yeah, where you go, dope. And it's like, oh, thank God I've got an audio editor for that one. But somebody caught me on this last one I did where I said Oakley Dokley in the middle of it. And we've got Ned Flanders, Homer Simpson's neighbor,
yeah.
always says Oakley Dokley. And he says, is your inner Flanders coming out? And I said, yeah. And I said, oh no, I wasn't paying attention. I let my inner Ned come out. I don't know if you guys get the Simpsons over there, or
Yeah, get Simpsons. Yeah,
well, you guys have a different sense of humor too.
my one of my mates, he's a big follower at Simpsons. He'll tell you any fact about him, and proper geek type lad he is, but it's just about Simpsons.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, you name
My
it, he
mom's
knows.
85, and Yeah, and 85, she pretty much watches whatever we've got on television.
Yeah.
And with my wife traveling, I'll put on a brainless show like The Simpsons or something, just because I'm back and forth going through the living room. And I'll see her over there just watching that and laughing. And it's like, huh. I said, I guess even when you're in your 80s, The Simpsons are funny.
I think Simpsons is one of them things that can suit any age, though.
I think it really is. It's there's no age limit for that kind of foolishness.
No.
But yeah, it's in my office is the living room's right there for me.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm pointing backwards. It's over there from my perspective. It's over there from reality,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's in there. My office just has like this great thing. So I have to run around before any lives and turn everything off, because there's tons of background noise.
What up and coming projects you got then, Bill? Out in pipeline, or just see what come along, or what?
Well, my big projects right now that I'm prepping up videos for, or I've got, one's a fun one. You ever have a weed eater or a blower or something where the gas tank, the little hole in it gets to be too big, so you have to replace the tank where the line goes?
All right, yeah.
I've got a fix for that. A fix that works every time. That's coming up in a video, and you'll see it's the coolest fix you'll see on that particular problem. And it turns a $25 gas tank. To get it right, you don't want to put glue or anything around it.
Yeah.
To do it correctly.
Yeah.
And it's a $2 fix for a $25 problem. But I do it occasionally, and I was getting ready to do this one, and I got all the tools out. It takes a couple of tools. Got all the tools out and got ready to do it, and thought, something, I need to set the camera up for this one, because I don't think I've ever seen anybody do it before. It was one of those I came up with just out of necessity and in this case, a tank that's hard to buy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put glue on a gas tank or any, tank fixer goop right there on the top of the tank, right where the user looks at it. But that same one has a bad recoil on it too, where the recoil every now and again it comes out and then just stops and won't go back in.
Yeah.
And it's on a hedge trimmer, which is a little bit more of a pain in the butt than others, but it's fixable,
Yeah. Well, it's fixable, isn't it?
Well, you have to split the case to get to it.
It's fixable as long as you're willing to put money into it or time into it, one or other, or both.
Yeah. Everything's fixable. If it gets to the point where it's not fixable, usually you've got a fire extinguisher in your hand.
I mean, years ago, when I'm mechanicking, I'm going back some years now. I'm going back, got to be 30 years. We got a recovery truck, and every time you took it out, engine had seize on it. And you just leave it stood for 10 minutes, and it start up, drive, and off you went again.
Huh.
So we end up stripping it down. I can't remember what it weren't a Perkins engine. What were in it now? Oh, it was a Gardner engine. And what happened were couldn't get pistons for that, and they had them machined, had them med. And I think for all pistons, it was something like 10 grand.
Oh.
But I tell you something, once they'd got them in and chucked me into it and got it running, I tell you something, first flick every time that recovery truck started, and it never missed a beat.
Really?
Yeah, but like I say, it's just chucking money at things, though. If you can't buy it bits, you have to have them made. Not on a lawnmower, but you know what I mean? I'm talking on a bigger scale.
Well, yeah, when I got the welder, it's my little brother says, he said, "Oh Lord, I don't want to think about you with a welder." He says, "The first question I've got is, what do you have to weld?" And back when I bought it, I said, the first thing I need is a frame for my air conditioner, because I got one of the, what a split unit is?
Yeah.
I replaced the air conditioner, which used to have the vents in the wall downstairs. I replaced that with a split unit, which is why I didn't need the vents anymore. And I said, I need a bracket to take it up off the ground, and I can't find one I like. And he says, so you're going to get a welder and learn how to weld just to make a bracket? And I said, I'm sure I'll think of something else to do with it. And then the go-kart came along, and I said, okay, I got a go-kart I need to weld. I've actually welded a kitchen tool. I had my wife's, I don't know if you know, on the KitchenAid, the big stand mixers,
Yeah, right.
they've got attachments you can put on
Yeah,
so you can make spaghetti and things like that.
yeah, yeah.
I inadvertently broke one of them. I was trying to clean it, and I put paper towels in it, and I was holding a rag in my hand, and it sucked the rag in and then broke the little piece that attaches it to the mixer, and
Right.
I welded it back together.
Well, I'm a bit further on with welder than what I was on about last week. I'm going for a flux core one in end. That's what I'm going for.
So you say you're good at it or learning it?
No, I'm all right welding. I were after a welder. I don't really remember me speaking last week. I'm after a welding. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know to go to normal welding. And after reading and what I'm going flux core. It's just so much
I love
easier.
flux core. That's what I
For
started with.
the amount of welding I'm going to be doing,
It's easy to work with,
yeah,
and it's simple.
yeah.
Well, I spent one day with a professional welder, and it was at an auto shop, and I asked him if he had any projects, and he said, "Come back Thursday." And I said, "And no, Dirt Rider, I don't right now, but we're looking at houses, and I promise the next one will have a barn. I'm planning on a full-on cement garage and the whole 9 yards." But yeah, anyway, the the guy that was showing me how to weld, I came back on Thursday and spent a few hours with him. And I said, okay, what do you recommend? He says, for house use, flux welding only.
Mm.
And I said, just flux. And he says, yes. And I said, but isn't stick welding stronger? He says, no, stick welding puts more material on it all at once. He said, that's the only advantage to stick welding. And I said, okay, what about TIG and MIG and all that? And he says, and he walked me to the back of his shop, and he's got race cars. He's got dragsters. He says, do you know, we build these frames by hand. Every single piece of metal is put together with a flux welder.
Mm.
I said, really? And he says, yeah, we use flux core for everything. And I said,
I think
for a dragster? And he says, it works fine. He says, so far we haven't had a dragster come apart going down the track.
I think obviously it saves on obviously having gas because argon's another expense anyway, isn't it?
Or carbon monoxide or whatever.
Well, yeah, whatever you use, it's still another expense.
It's an expense. It's an expense. Where flux core does cost more for the wire.
Yeah,
but it pays it back by not needing the bottle, and it's one less thing to carry around.
yeah. So
But yeah, it's when I put the go-kart frame on, you'd never guess that front end wasn't part of the go-kart and factory and all that. But
when you first put that go-kart on and you said you're going to extend it, and you actually you literally got into it with your knees up to your chest, didn't you?
I really did. Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, it needs to be extended, but I didn't expect you to extend it as much as what you did.
Well, now it's only extended about 6.5 inches.
But I suppose it looks more because it lengthened it now, if you know what I mean.
Well, that's the nice part is the way I linked, because I went ahead of the axle to extend it, and I went ahead of the axle to maintain center of gravity. But because I went ahead of the axle, the extension looks like it belongs there.
Mm.
I had a guy over here buying something a couple of days ago, and he looked and he says, and I told him we extended the front end. And he says, "Where'd you extend it? That's stock." And I said, "Nope, that's extended." And he looked at it and looked at it and looked at it, and I said, "Right here, right here, right here, and right here is where we extended it." And he says, "I see the joints, but they look stock."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, I appreciate that." I said, "Believe me," I said, I tore up a lot of metal learning how. I sat in that guy's shop that day, and I wrecked every piece of scrap metal he had welding it.
What's next project after go-kart then? Is it, are we selling it, or are we keeping it? Or?
Well, the go-kart I'm keeping until I run out of ideas.
Right.
And the weed eater motors proved to be a little bit trickier to get them mounted because there's no mounting kit for a weed eater motor on a go-kart. There's just no such thing,
Yeah.
And that proved to be a little trickier than I thought it would be. But because I'm trying to leave it in a position where I can run more than one at once. And you know what I didn't think of when I first started was I can mount more than one motor, but only start one motor if I use the clutches that are on the weed eater. A weed eater clutch will freewheel.
Yeah.
without affecting the motor at all.
Yeah.
So you could run it with one motor or two motors or three motors.
Yeah, but are you going to pull both clutches in at the same time?
Well, now each weed eater will have its own clutch
Yeah.
because they come with a clutch on them.
Yeah, and as you rev engine up, obviously it throws into clutch.
Yes.
What's clutching? But what I'm saying is, how are you sure they're both going to pull in at the same time?
Well, yeah, keep in mind, it's like, let's say I've got 60% of the horsepower coming from one motor and 40% from the other. Once it spins up, those clutches are going to engage.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think geared down enough, one weed eater motor might move it along, but not very well.
No, what I was thinking were, if one clutch pulls in a bit quicker than the other, is it going to try to turn in a circle, if you understand what I mean, while the second one kicks in?
Well, now that clutch might start moving. Well, the clutch, you think when you start the engine, the clutches are, for practical purposes, attached directly to the wheel.
Yeah.
So the clutches will be turning the whole time, whether the motors are on or off, if it's rolling. If I were to start one motor and then drive it with one motor, the other clutch would turn, but because the centers aren't spinning out,
Yeah.
it wouldn't engage the motor at all.
Yeah, you'd have no
Once the
drive.
centers start spinning out, that it'll catch it. If it's running slower than the speed the first motor's, I should say,
Yeah.
if it's running slower than the speed of the go-kart, it'll jump out to that speed immediately.
Yeah, I get you.
So it's a self-balancing system, kind of.
Yeah.
Because I was originally going, my original thought was to run two and possibly even three motors and run it through the go-kart clutch, through a regular go-kart clutch. But then it occurred to me that if I put the gear directly on the shaft of the weed eaters, if I pull the cord to start a weed eater, I'm starting more than one weed eater with that cord. And that might not be possible. It might, if it does work, it'd be more pulling than I want to do,
Well, yeah.
And then I thought, okay, well, I could weld a bolt to the clutch, to one side of the clutch, and then spin it up with a drill to start everything all at once. But if I have a motor that's not cooperating, and Dirt Rider's saying they use chainsaw motors. Yeah, no, weed eater motor will go 9,000 RPM. And in this case, they'll go 10,000 RPM because I'm taking 25cc motors and putting 27cc carburetors on them, and I'm opening up the exhausts a little bit. So they will run 10,000 RPM if I'm willing to blow them up. And every motor that I've got, I took off of an old weed eater, and I'm more than willing to blow it up.
I'm going to say, what do they stand you at? I bet they're not weed eater motors off used equipment.
That's all they are, is motors off used equipment. And I'm saving them off equipment that's too ugly to sell.
Yeah.
That has a good motor.
Yeah, good motor, but like you say, it's worth more keeping than it is.
Yeah, because I pay $5 or $10 for used weed eaters, and then I might spend 10 or 15 bucks getting them running. But the parts I use to get them running, because I'm using really common engines, the parts I have to put on them to get them running, I can take back off when I'm done with these and just throw the motors away.
Right, yeah, because you can reuse bits off them, like carbs, etc.
That's what I figure. I'll pull the carbs. Yeah, because I'm poking holes in the mufflers, I can't reuse the mufflers. They'll be too loud for a weed eater that you're selling. But I can save the ignition coils. I can save the carburetors. And, you've only got three things on a weed eater that can go wrong. Assuming you don't put regular gas in it. Assuming you haven't blown up the engine, it's carburetor. You got carburetor, ignition, and the muffler's clogged. It's always those are the criminals in weed eaters, That's what we call the part that went bad the criminal on every weed eater. And we always say it's always the carburetor. But I don't rebuild them. And now, if you watch the videos close, you'll see I've got a box of carburetors, and a lot of times I'll pull a carburetor out of that box and I'll call it a new carburetor. But it's because most of my people watching the videos are not small engine mechanics. I don't want to encourage them taking apart a two-stroke carburetor. Four-stroke carburetors, nothing to them. Easy peasy. Anybody can clean a jet. Two-stroke carburetors, if you take it apart and try to replace parts, I don't want to spend the time explaining the diaphragms may look the same, but they're not. They have different stiffnesses, and the little centerpiece in the diaphragm, that little center stud is different
some
lengths.
can be bigger than others, can't they?
It gets too complicated for somebody who's only interested in getting their weed eater running.
Yeah.
They don't care about 10,000th of an inch of stud difference clearance. They don't even care about torque specs. What they care about is it won't start. Can you tell me how to make it start?
While we're on subject, Bill, can bend your ear. What do you torque lawnmower blades up to?
I torque them up to number 3 on my impact gun.
Right. Well, that's no use to me.
It's remember, you're not launching this into space.
I know. I've read somewhere 40 foot-pounds, like between.
I'm sure I'm running them up to 90 probably, but over torquing them won't hurt anything.
Right.
If you used a ratchet,
and
tightened it, what you would call hard, you're safe.
Yeah. It's that one that I've just took engine off that Quantum. I had to get that off with a big 21-inch cracking bike on the tight, and I took it off. Then I thought, what do I torque this back up to? It's not that I've got torque wrenches because, like I say, I used to be.
You want to have some fun with it when you get it back together. Once you get it back, and I'll tell you, cleaning the jets fixes 90% of the Quantum engines. 99% of the Quantum engines, it's going to be the jets.
Yeah.
Just for fun, when you get it back together, put a brand new spark plug in it. Make sure it's the correct spark plug and it has all the factory specs. It's a resistor or non-resistor, depending on what the specs are for it.
Yeah.
So it matches the ignition coil. And then when you're done with it, start it up. When you get it to the point where it starts first pull, which a Quantum engine will start first pull if the carburetor's clean.
Right.
When it starts first pull, take it out, and you'll see you're gapped around 23 or 28 or whatever.
Yeah.
Cut the gap to 10. Squish it all the way down to matchbook cover, and then put the plug back in and pull the cord and see what happens.
Wait, what? It'll be a lot harder starting, I would have thought.
It'll start fine.
Will it?
And it'll run fine. And then take it back out and set the gap to 60 and see what happens.
You're going to say it's going to still run?
It's going to run fine.
We saw a video on this other day.
I saw
a video on this.
It started out in a comment, and then Steve made a video on it. And I said, you know something? The only thing I don't like about that video is the fact that he beat me to it.
Yeah. I'm going to say, when you started mentioning that and saying altering, I thought, I watched him on this other day.
Yeah, I've got videos. I've got one video that's specifically spark plug the whole way through, about different things about spark plugs and what can go right, and resistor versus non-resistor and all that whatnot.
So why not upload him?
But there's not much to talk about on the gap, because the gap is less meaning. People will look and they'll say, oh, here's the problem. It's gapped at 23 and it should have been 28.
Yeah. I know what you're going to say.
That wasn't the problem. I don't know if I published it. Yeah, I think I did. I did one on how flooding a motor works. And
I saw that one.
You see the little bitty spot. I didn't know if I got it close enough to the camera to show that little spot of gasoline that was hanging around at the end of the plug. But yeah, once you're flooded, that little spot of gas is all there is to flooding an engine.
Yeah.
Because what happens is the circuit will be completed without having to spark. It'll go through the gas.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, gas is not flammable enough to spark it without that open air spark. You could run electricity through it and it won't matter. Even the 20,000 odd volts you have on a lawnmower coil.
No,
Dirt Rider's saying put racing fuel in it. I might have to pony up for a can of racing fuel for the Weed Eater motors. I want to be nice to the Predator motor, because when I eventually sell it, the Predator motor will be on it. But the Weed Eater motors, I don't care. If none of them blow up. AK Paul, the gap's kind of important. I agree with the statement, somewhat important. But if you took your car and gapped them all to 40, especially on a car, you'll find the computer takes that into account and starts reworking it and doing everything for you. Modern cars will have a coil on every single plug, and every one of those coils is enough to jump 100 millimeter. Yeah, a 0.1 gap, much less a 0.03 or whatever.
Mm.
But yeah, just maybe on the Honda one day. Next time I'm tuning it up, I'll do a video on that. We'll do it on the car just for giggles. And because
Why
it's got
not?
the Corvette doesn't have a good computer in it. It's got lots of spark, but it doesn't have a good computer for that because it's a 25-year-old computer. It doesn't
Yeah.
have the information, but the Honda will give me gas mileage and all that. So maybe I'll do it on the Honda and then see what the gas mileage is for them gapped out at 50. And then we'll gap them down to 20, and then we'll take them to whatever the factory says. Oh, we'll get them down to 15. Hell, why not? It's only 4 plugs and they all come straight out the top. It doesn't take long.
How many subscribers we got, Bill? Any more since last week?
Yeah, it hopped up pretty good. I got about 20 last week. And today it just died off. But that's how that works, you know? It's not that time of year.
Ah, well. Just try and get that 1,000 mark. We'll get you there.
I know. I think I lost one yesterday, but I know where I lost it. And it was because I aggravated somebody. And I figure, hey, you're going to aggravate people occasionally. That's just how life works, you know?
Well, it's the good old saying, one door closes, another one opens, one goes, another one comes in.
Yeah.
There's always going to be somebody somewhere wanting some information.
If you make a joke about fat people, skinny people laugh and fat people get mad. If you make a joke about skinny people, fat people laugh and skinny people get mad.
Yeah.
You can't win.
Yeah.
K-Paul wants to do a speed test on the Honda. Well, the Honda is limited by RPM, and I'm not a dreamer on that. I know for a fact that Honda won't go 130 miles an hour unless you drop it off of an airplane. And I'd be more interested in what it does to my gas mileage, but we could do an acceleration test because it's a turbo. So right off the line, it doesn't take off super hard.
Yeah.
But at about 15 miles an hour, when the turbo winds all the way up, the tires go beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, 110. I would believe that car would probably go 110. It's, if you ask anybody who owns a badge and a uniform, I've never been over 75 miles an hour in that car. If you ask everybody else in the whole world, it'll go 90. I know that for sure. And it doesn't overheat at 90. It just runs along just happy as anything.
Any more bodies want to come up here?
I know they're kind of being lightweights today. I don't know why. Hey, K-Paul, you want to come play? You got a camera?
You were on last week, weren't you, K-Paul?
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah, come up before I did. Anybody got what they want to talk about?
Don't make me tell more bad jokes because I know a lot of really bad jokes.
Like I said earlier on, they're getting worse.
Yeah. Hey, the miniskirt one's pretty funny, though. You got to admit, that was funny.
Oh, God. Yeah.
See, here comes K-Paul, and now he's going to say, okay, what was the miniskirt joke, right?
I didn't hear it because I was logging in. And I'm late. I'm way late. Kids get out of school at 3:30. So.
Well, this will be our last middle of the day when we're going to switch off to a more reasonable time. Yeah. The miniskirt joke was, you know how to tell the difference between a lawnmower and a miniskirt?
No.
Put your hand underneath it and you'll know.
That's bad.
Yeah. Oh, they got worse from there. Tell them, Adam. They got worse from there.
They got a lot worse than that.
Oh yeah. Well, this is YouTube, so you got to be more appropriate.
Well,
you can see how lazy. You can see how lazy I've been.
Merry Christmas. Yeah, right.
Hold on, I gotta help my kid. Oh, she got it. Good job.
Yeah, don't show the kid on camera because you know the rules.
Oh, you can't? I didn't know that.
Well, no, I've got grandkids and all that, and love kids and everything, but because I told jokes that were not necessarily G-rated. If a kid's also on camera, then all of a sudden YouTube goes and slaps my face.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, and yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. I just didn't know if you can actually show a kid or not. But I mean, you're on Bluetooth anyway, So, you know, I don't let the kids in on anything I do on YouTube.
Yeah. Next week I'll keep it much more PG rated so that you can show the kids.
Yeah, no.
So what you been up to, Paul?
Oh, not much. Just getting over the flu.
Have you?
How are you guys?
Good, good.
I'm having a pretty good week here. I was telling them earlier. See that? That
Yeah.
means what? Where's it at? That means that I was
Yep.
working on a steel
Oh, chainsaw?
blower.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah. No, those are tight.
But it had one little crack in the case on the cooling
Yep.
fins underneath the muffler.
Yep.
And you know the steel backpack blowers, especially this is a 430. It's a pretty heavy duty one.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, they got a lot of compression. You start those like you start a chainsaw, you know? That's
Yeah.
a 4-horse motor on that little blower. And
Yeah,
I
it's like
pulled on it and didn't have my foot on it. And it
Oh.
came back, and that little crack in the case went long ways on my finger like this and got the end of my finger. It was like, damn it, I'm bleeding. I know. You know, where you're holding it and you say,
Yeah.
I know I'm bleeding. I know I am. I'm just going to head for the bathroom. I'll be
Yeah.
back. You know?
It's like, oh, great. Now I got to go get a Band-Aid. I got to stop what I'm doing because I'm bleeding.
Now, I get torn up quite often. So I've got a regular first aid kit. I can cover wounds from that big down to that big with just the stuff in
Yeah.
the bathroom.
Yeah. I have a suture kit, so
I don't
hopefully
have a
never
suture
need
kit. I'm not quite willing to put stitches in myself yet.
I don't want to do that either. That's why I have a staple gun.
Oh,
And I hope to
Lord.
never use that either. But if I need to, I got injectable lidocaine. So, you know, sorry, I'm a prepper. So I kind of have a full med kit and food and all that good jazz.
Hey, we got Mick in the house.
Oh,
Hey,
he
Mick,
said
you got to come up, Mick.
he said he would come up.
The first live I ever did was on Mick the Mower Man's live stream. And he says, you've only got 100 subscribers or whatever, or I had 150. And he says, we got to get you over 200, and got me over 200 that day. So
Oh, that's awesome.
I can humbly say I owe half my success to Mick.
That's cool.
So, is he coming
I
up?
can't even see the chat. I can't see the chat when I'm in this for some reason because it's only a phone.
Oh, because you're on the phone?
Yeah.
I'm same on my tablet. Because it's the only
I mean,
thing
if
I've got
I
a
hit
webcam
it-
on.
If I hit it, it doesn't even come up at all. Or comments maybe.
He says he's watching he's watching movies with Mrs. P. And yeah, it can't come between a guy and his wife.
You can't.
Nope. No, if
It's like,
mama's
yeah.
not happy, if mama's not happy, nobody's happy.
Yeah, I was saying earlier when I was working on a different time to do this, I was leaning towards either Thursday night or Sunday afternoon because I'm trying to find a time that doesn't interfere with Top Conquer. Because you know, that's just disrespectful. I can't do that.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
so Saturday's sort of off the page entirely. Plus, my wife is home because my wife travels a lot and she's always home on Saturday. So I don't want to put something else on top of hanging out with Phil. So I said, yeah, she usually leaves sometime Sunday around lunch. So I'm thinking about 2:00 Sunday is probably going to be when we move to.
Cool.
So I'll probably do a short one this Sunday. Well,
remember.
short. I don't know how long it'll go. It'll go as long as it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, most of my streams that I watch and stuff are usually later in the day, like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So, but that's a totally different genre than this than working on. stuff.
Whereabouts are you though, Paul?
What's that?
Whereabouts are you from?
From Connecticut.
No, it's America.
I've heard of Connecticut.
Yeah, you're from Connecticut.
No, I'm from Indiana.
Oh, you're from Indiana?
Yeah.
I
I'm a
was one of the
Hoosier.
other guys. Yeah. Yeah, I'm the constipation state.
The constipation state. Yeah. No, that's Wisconsin.
Oh, I hope nobody's here from Wisconsin.
Okay. For anybody, for like Adam, just to be helpful, Wisconsin claims itself to be the cheese state here.
Right.
You get enough
Yeah.
cheese, you're going to be constipated. So they're the
true.
constipation state.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Their football
Oh.
fans call themselves cheeseheads.
Cheeseheads.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Oh yeah,
They
you're on
proudly-
the other side of the pond. Adam,
Me?
you're on the other side of the pond, right?
Yeah, I'm in UK.
UK, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's all
No,
the way
how's it-
across the pond.
Yeah. How's the tensions with all this war stuff going on over there? Food and fuel.
Um, well, it's like it's pricey. I mean, everything as we know across has gone up. Fuel, our paying. It's actually fuel's come down a bit actually. I've got a diesel car now. At one point, I was paying 189 a litre, and it's come down to 164 at the moment, which ain't bad for diesel, but it's still higher than what it's were obviously before all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Adam. You don't realize it, but we're having heart attacks when we hear those prices.
Why?
no,
Go on
that's a
then.
litre.
Hit me with it, Bill. What do you pay?
Well, let me
Well, that's
see.
a-
What's liters to gallon?
What is it? 3.8.
5 litres to 1 gallon.
3.78.
3.78. I knew it was like 3.8 or something. Yeah.
3 inches. Yeah,
3.7.
call it 3.8. But yeah, I
So
filled
you-
up at $2.89 for a gallon
Of gasoline though. What's diesel?
of gasoline.
It's
think it were-
$5.99 for diesel here right now in
I think
Connecticut.
it 149.
Well, yeah,
here.
but I'm in Texas, and the only thing we've got is
Yeah.
cows and gas.
Yeah, that's true.
So
and dirt.
basically, for what you're pay, what we're paying for 2 litres, you're getting a gallon for.
Yes.
It's literally half price.
Yeah, it really is. It's less than half price
It's less than half price actually. Yeah.
because it's 3.8 liters per gallon.
Yeah.
So wait, let me grab the handy dandy calculator.
Oh, you're
So
gonna
what'd you
make me
say
do
you
it,
paid
too.
for a liter?
On what diesel?
Yeah.
Diesel's
Diesel.
169. Where I live.
Hold on, baby girl.
That'd come to, oh yeah, you're right. That would come to
Eight.
$6.39 a gallon.
Right. And what would you pay for it?
Now diesel here is running right around 380, I guess.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah,
Per
nice.
gallon.
it's just about half price.
Just about
Give
half
and
price,
take.
yeah.
So here in Connecticut, it was $5.99 a gallon. I think it's now. It might be $4.99 a gallon for diesel. So either way, you're paying basically a liter more than what we are. So it's like $6.43 a gallon if you were to buy it here. What you're paying? Well, you're paying $6.43 a gallon or $6.40 a gallon. I did it 3.8. So what is it?
Like you said, cost of everything's gone up. Shopping, and it's like everywhere. You've just got to cut back where you are and think: do I really need this? Do I really need that? Can I?
Yeah.
That's true.
It's just how it is, and some people moan about it, but I think at least we are getting food. If you understand what I mean. When COVID at first time in supermarkets or here, sometimes there were some things you just couldn't get. At least
Yeah.
we've got things. You might be paying for them, but at least you can get them.
Yeah, and that's
I still can't stand the price of eggs.
Yeah, eggs
See,
is ridiculous.
eggs over here is cheap
It's,
compared to what you're
$4.19,
paying.
$4.19 or $4.49 a dozen where I am.
A dozen. I can get 36 eggs over here for £2.50. Yeah, £2.50 just for 36 eggs.
How many? What's the pound conversion on a dollar now? It used to be like really high. Like a pound was worth like $3 or $4 or $5.
Really? I know it was a couple of bucks.
I'll tell you. Give me a minute.
Years ago, it was way up, but now I know it's way down because I actually have a few pounds because I collect coins too. I actually have some
Wait a
with
minute,
the
I'll
queen
tell
on
you.
it. I have some bills with the queen on it.
Give me a minute. Back again.
Yeah, I've got a I think a 10 or a 20 pound note.
Nice.
UK pound to dollar at the moment's 1.18.
So it's pretty much the same. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it's
But
pretty
I-
close
I-
now.
I can't get how much you're paying for eggs over there. I really can't.
Yeah, I bought 3 dozen eggs two 18 packs at
Yeah.
our local. We've got, like these club stores where you have
Yeah.
to have a membership to buy anything, but it's warehouse stores, so you have to buy huge amounts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I bought two 18 packs of eggs that were sealed together. And I think I paid $10 for it. And I thought that was the deal of the week.
Yeah.
Like I
Walmart,
said, that over here is like £2.50 at the moment.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So like no disrespect, but what like petrol's dirt cheap over there, but eggs are dear. Where we've got eggs are cheap and petrol's dear.
Yeah.
It's
all what they can make money on you.
well, yeah, but
Well, they talk about the chickens. Chickens somehow are,
Yeah, the bird flu.
yeah. Yeah,
I can
we got
smoke on
faulty
camera,
chickens
right?
now.
Can I
Yeah.
smoke on
Yeah, yeah.
camera? It's just a cigarette.
Yeah, no crack.
I mean, what else
No,
has
it's
gone
just-
up across there? Like eggs, or what else shot through the roof?
When COVID came along, you couldn't buy toilet paper. Now all the chickens have got chicken COVID, and now you can't buy eggs.
Uh-huh.
It's
I'm
funny.
wondering
I
what's
had
next.
in March of 2020, when COVID was actually announced and all that, and then the toilet paper shortage happened, I counted how many rolls I had of Charmin double rolls. I had 187
Before?
Yeah.
in March of 2020.
But
So-
but that's
So
that's
you were
the
a
good-
hoarder before hoarding was cool.
No,
No,
you
I'm a
were a
prepper.
prepper, weren't you?
I'm a prepper. I have
Yeah.
enough to get through for a year. Now that I have 3 kids, I have more than that.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, with 3 kids, if they're all girls, you've got enough to get through next Saturday.
Pretty much. Maybe.
I'm pretty sure my wife eats toilet paper when she's in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh, my wife too. And then the baby wipes. Are you kidding me? She uses 2 baby wipes every time she wipes anything.
Yes.
I'm like, fold it in half. And then she only wipes once. I'm like, fold it in half if you're only gonna wipe once.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, another big thing over there compared to here is, well, I don't know, it is a big thing, but what I've seen on telly and that is this voucher shopping. You would get a lot of vouchers, don't you, to get buy one get one free or get some at half price. Or see, there's none of that over here really.
Yeah, the
see,
half
that's how I
price
had
stuff
all
seems
that
to be
toilet.
gone.
Yeah, and that's how I always get the toilet paper. I only buy it on sale. Like last week, it was the 18 packs of Charmin double rolls, 21.94 or 22.46 each. Save $20 when you buy 3.
Yeah.
So that brings it under $1 a roll. So I
And
just keep buying it.
That's better. At least we give the women a good snack for a cheap.
Exactly. And it's got to be Charmin, and paper towels have to be Bounty. It can't be Scott's and Sparkle.
Is Charmin the one with the bear on it?
Yeah.
I remember seeing a bear on mine, and I don't grocery shop, so we get the one with the bear on it, and it's got to be the ultra soft, fluffy.
Oh, the Ultra Soft is horrible. Oh, you got to tell her to get you the extra strong. Get the red pack, not the blue one, just for you.
But I don't know what it is.
It's life changing. Tell her to get the red one. Tell her to get the extra strong. It'll change your life.
I like to think that most of my life doesn't revolve around that part of my body.
Well, that's true. Well, they say sleep is 1/3. I don't know where they get that figure because I get like 4 hours of sleep a night.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, but you got 3 kids.
That's true. Yeah, 2 girls, 1 boy.
So yeah, I don't
Oh, and
sleep.
back on
I've got 1 boy, and lucky enough, I can sleep pretty good with him because he's 23 and lives in his own apartment.
Yeah. That's awesome. I can't wait for that time.
I don't sleep. I do about 4 hours a night on a good night.
I tell you, the minute the kid leaves, you'll feel like there's a hole in your world that nothing can fill.
I won't be able to sleep.
You won't. You really won't.
Yeah.
It's,
I mean, I'm so used to like the 2 o'clock I peed the bed wake up call with one of the kids or the other. They're young.
I've got like pictures of the kid here and there all over the place. And I just, I see the pictures going by, and it's like, like I'll see him with a Hawaiian shirt on and shorts on a skateboard in Fort Lauderdale. We spent a lot of time in
Nice.
Fort Lauderdale because they've got a beach. You know.
Yep.
And I was raised in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, were you?
I was, yeah. Even went to high
Nice.
school and everything there.
I used to live at 37 Northeast 57 Court.
I lived at 201 Northwest 35th. So you lived over
Nice.
by Commercial.
Yeah, right near that dead end by the highway, and the 7-Eleven. I worked there at one point.
On 6th Ave?
I don't know what the roads are. There's a dead end right near, at the end of our road. You come out and you go, and there's a dead end. I can't remember the other roads. I just remember 30 Northeast 57th Court. That's all I remember. But you can see that 7-Eleven when you're on the highway on 95.
Oh, by Cypress. Yeah, you're right. 57th Court. Yeah, that's over by
Yeah.
Cypress. So yeah, it's that one that's like underneath by the bowling alley, around the corner from the bowling alley.
Yeah, around the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
some sort of sex club now or something. I don't know.
Probably. No one.
And how would you know that, Bill?
Well, his son lives down there, mind you.
No, that's fine.
Well, if you've got to be on an email list, at least. I'm throwing myself under the bus.
Yeah.
I'll see you later, Dirt
Yeah.
Rider. Maybe next week you can come up. Well, Sunday. We're looking at Sunday at about 2:00 probably.
So about
If I
8
get the
o'clock UK
notification-
time.
Well, my wife won't be at work at that time, so if I get the notification, she gives me permission.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's my wife is an aerospace auditor, so she's guaranteed to come home Friday at one point or
Yeah.
another, which is why I'm not doing Friday, because it could be 4 PM and it could be 9:00 at night, but I can't predict it.
Yeah.
And I need a time that'll be at least reasonably consistent.
So,
So-
Does she travel week in, week out, Bill?
Every week, yeah.
Yeah.
And I might go along every now and again. But, it's like this week. How's that? I don't even know where she is. Go look at my Google map, the location tracker.
Oh,
This
you
week
can
it's in
track your wife?
Valencia, California.
Valencia, California. Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I don't ever want to go to California.
Now, I was a computer programmer, so I spent years in California, in Silicon Valley.
Yeah. Well, that's when it was actually nice out there. Now there's people living on the sides of the road in the most richest town there, pooping on the sidewalk.
Yeah, I hear that. And, like in Silicon Valley, it was you could almost understand it. When I left, my house was, I think, 1,700 square feet. It was a small house. Well, it was a house-size house, but the lot was 75 by 150. It was side to side. It was skinny, but it was pretty deep.
Yeah.
I bought that house for $340, I guess, $325, and then
Wow,
2 years
that's a
later
big
sold
house.
it for $8 and change.
Nice. So you made. So I'm what am I? 75 by 150 as well, and I'm only a 1,200 square foot home.
Yeah. Hey, John, you want to come up?
Was that John Clem?
That's John Clem.
Get him up. Get to come up. Come on, John.
You got to do it, John.
Yeah. And so when I came
I put the
in, you
minion
guys
away,
were-
John. He's
What?
look, minion. He's over here. He's way over here, and he's in timeout.
So when I first came in, you guys were talking about carburetors and that you don't even tell people how to rebuild them or to rebuild them, and I get that.
For
'Cause
two-strokes.
Remember that? Yeah, the 2 strokes. Oh well, I did a 4-stroke, but the 4-stroke carburetor on that Ryobi, it was the same Wilbro that goes on a 2-stroke, but it probably had a different diaphragm. But I ordered the exact one straight from Wilbro. I'm probably mispronouncing it. I got
Walbro.
exactly the right part.
Bro.
Yeah, and put that in because that's all it needed.
Now, what you say a 4-stroke? You mean like a 4-stroke weed eater?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I should correct myself. I think about weed eaters and I think 2-stroke. I know they make a lot of 4-stroke weed eaters. I just don't believe in them.
Oh, I
And
don't either.
not believing in them doesn't mean they don't exist. You know, I don't believe in my ex-wife, and it hasn't worked yet. She still exists. You know? But yeah, but the 4-stroke weed eaters and chainsaws, and I don't know, is there a 4-stroke chainsaw? I'm sure there is. If there's not a modern
Yeah.
one, I'm sure there was one at one point or another.
I think
Yeah,
still did
there-
one years and years and years ago.
Yeah, there's old ones. No, don't do that, honey.
But yeah, the 2-stroke carburetors, or what we'll call a diaphragm carburetor, which is your
Yeah.
standard 2-stroke carburetor, they exist because they needed a way for tools to be turned
Yep.
upside down and still run. And so they cheated the design that they used on World War II airplanes into a carburetor.
All right.
It's like a completely, it's a different design, but it's the same concept.
Yeah.
When you have a diaphragm and a float that relies on the engine rather than relies on engine usage rather than relying on a fuel level,
Yeah.
it's a diaphragm carburetor.
Yeah. I can see a video coming here, Bill. On
Well, I've
carburetor.
got one on that.
I know you said. I can see one coming.
Yeah, 'cause
Carburetors and plugs.
yeah, carburetors and spark plugs. Yeah. Well, I always joke, and even with Mick, I'll always, if when he has something where it's got a bad ignition or a bad switch or a bad wire or something, I always say it's always the carburetor. It's always the carburetor. This can't be. That can't be right because it wasn't the carburetor. It's always the carburetor.
I've just seen his video tonight. What he's doing on that blower. What he were waiting for micro switch on.
Yeah, I think he did it right both times because when it's easy to say, okay, you made a mistake the first time, but the truth of it is, the first time when you're working on it, you're thinking, okay, I want to do the minimal amount of damage while trying to make it work correctly.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you get these little micro switches that only have 2 millimeters of play total, it's easy to think it's going to work right, and you won't know until it's really out in the field and doing its job. And then after the second time around, you say, okay, that's it. I'm going to make this work, and I'm not going to see it again because I don't want to see it 3 times.
Yeah.
Rick says, hello, everyone. And John.
And John.
And John.
But, like you say, is he coming up, John?
He said that he's looking stuff up for Lisa right now.
Okay.
He's got his hands full. But he didn't say he had his hands full because then we would have questioned it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, John's bored in Mississippi.
Bored in
Michael, it's not just John. Everybody in Mississippi is bored.
Yeah. Oh, Mississippi, didn't they have tornadoes a couple weeks ago? Or risk of it anyway.
Well, I think they got beat up a little bit. I know we got beat up here, and Mississippi tends to have the same weather forecast. 10 degrees cooler maybe, but they get Texas's weather forecast, but a day later. So if it gets cold here, it's like today it's 77 here. So tomorrow it'll be 77 in Mississippi. Tomorrow it's supposed to be 45 here. So that means day after tomorrow it'll be 45 in Mississippi.
That's cool. Yeah, it's 55 here today. We really have not had a winter. We've had one 5-inch storm and dusting at one point. So 5.5 inches.
We had that much. We had a good ice storm.
Yeah.
Where we picked up, over a 1/4 inch of ice on the roads. And remember, we import our snow plows from Mississippi. And Mississippi lets us borrow their one snow plow because they only need one. And they let us borrow it for a day, and they say we need it back tomorrow when the snow gets here,
Oh, shoot. Well, yeah, I watch videos on storms and stuff and all that, and I don't know if I can mention another YouTuber on here or not.
You can. Sure.
Ryan Hall, y'all.
Ryan Hall,
he does
y'all.
great weather. Yeah, he's actually a meteorologist. He's got meteorologists that work for him. He's got over 1 million subscribers, so he's actually funds himself and does all that good stuff. So he's actually really good. If there's ever tornado risk in your area, look on YouTube for him, and he'll be live and reporting on the ground where it is. He's got storm chasers that work for him and everything. So I watch those when I'm not doing other things, of course, just seeing what's going on. That's how I know about a week or so ago or 2 weeks ago, all those tornadoes going through. That was brutal.
Yeah, it's, in Texas and Mississippi, they don't get quite the tornadoes we get here.
Yeah.
But in Texas, we joke around. It's like, is it raining? And then, my wife will look and say, yeah, trucks.
Yeah.
That means it's a tornado. It's raining trucks, Sometimes it's raining, ice cube trays. Sometimes it's raining trucks. Sometimes it's just raining rain. When it just rains rain, you're pretty happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we had a shipping yard get wiped out by a tornado about, I'd say, I want to say about 10 or 11 years ago. A tornado came through here and it went through a shipping yard with a bunch of trucks and it picked them all up and threw them on the interstate.
Oh.
And so there was 10 or 12 trailers and the news guy's showing it. And then you hear the news guy scream like a 10-year-old girl when one of the trucks lands about 15 feet away from him. It's like, dude, I would not be hanging out right there.
I'd be under a bridge.
You got to
go. Get under a bridge.
Yeah, I'd say, here's the view from 200 miles out, Alex.
Yeah.
I said that about UK. That's one good thing. We don't have any of that kind of weather, tornadoes, hurricanes, or out like that. Just wet.
Adam.
Yeah.
If you ever have one of those days when you wake up and you say the United States is better, I can show. Of course, being Americans, we all think our own country's better, right? We all do, and I understand you think yours is better. That's okay, but the United States has a unique quality that no other country in the world has. It's the only country that gets tornadoes, hurricanes, and earthquakes.
Yeah.
No other country in the world gets all those.
I think in my lifetime in UK, we've had 3 earthquakes, and I'm not talking big ones, I'm talking really mild ones. What you just felt under your feet. There were one a few years back, I think about six years ago, might be a bit longer, where there were one at night, like early hours of morning when people were in bed.
Yeah.
I gets up next morning, sees all this on telly, wonders what's going on. I slept straight through it. That's how bad it were.
Yeah, right.
Didn't disturb me.
Yeah.
So
the first time I was in an earthquake I was in Silicon Valley, of course, in California, lots of earthquakes. And I worked for Hewlett Packard, and I was on the second floor of a building. And the building, just because the buildings are designed to move with the earthquake.
Yeah.
Which makes it feel more dramatic than it really is when you're inside the building. And we had a pretty good earthquake. And I saw a ceiling tile fall, and I'm out of here. I'm on the second floor, but I'm going to make the exit and make it to the parking lot. I'm running. And I remember as I got up and started running, the guy that was in the office on the corner says, "Bill, where are you going?" He says, "Earthquake." He says, "But yeah, but where are you going?" It's an earthquake. And he asked me to grab him a soda on the way back from the soda machine. And then I got to the stairway and I thought about it for a second and said, I can't help but notice that there's not a crowd at the stairway.
Yeah.
And there were 3 or 4 people that asked me where I was going when I was heading out the door. They think nothing of it. And it's like ceiling tiles were falling on us. And what do? They get under their desk and then they get up and they take the tiles and they've got a place to put them in the aisle. They have a rack to put the ceiling tiles in so the maintenance guys can come put them back.
There's a building in, I think it's China or Japan, and it's built on a earthquake zone, if you know what I mean. It's known for earthquakes.
Fault line.
Well, yeah, fault line. And when they designed this building, I think it's 23 floors high. It's an hotel, and in bottom they put a pendulum, so that when earthquake strikes, it moves its center of gravity, so it never actually topples over.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself at the time when I first saw it, I thought, do you know what? That's a right clever idea.
Yeah, but imagine being on the 18th floor when this is happening and knowing that you've got a whole lot of way to fall and you got a whole lot of building above you to fall on you.
Well, yeah. But it just shows you, like you said, I mean, you look at this, what's happened in Ukraine, not Ukraine, in... Go on. We've just had that earthquake. I forgot now.
Turkey.
Yeah, is it Turkey?
Syria.
Yeah,
Turkey. And
Syria. That's it. That's what I'm looking at. And a lot of them buildings were built on an hillside, what were known for earthquakes, but it didn't have no. From what I've read, it didn't have no like quality control to make them safe. They basically
Yeah,
just said, we want to build some houses. Here's a plot of land, go and build them.
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
yeah.
we can.
That's why a lot of them's come down.
We complain about the building codes, and you have to get permits and inspections
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, I lived in Tennessee, and people are building the houses in their property out in the woods and sticks and falling apart, catch fire, and all this other things.
But that's what it's there for, isn't it, Paul? You've got to have some
Yep.
kind of not procedure, but some kind of code to follow.
Exactly. Which it does make it important. I mean, is it pricey? Yeah, but is doing it the right thing? Yeah. When it comes to structure, but if I want to put a toilet down in my basement, if it floods, it's my fault. But they just want to tax you on an additional room at that point.
Yeah, but like you said, this with Syria, it's. I'm not getting political. I don't want people to count it, but what I'm saying is the amount of people that's died.
Oh.
And if it's down to buildings, I know it's not being structurally sound. Then it's a lot of people dead for what?
Yeah. How many is the death toll now? I heard like 15,000 the last time
I honestly don't know. It keeps going up that quick.
No, I heard 32,000.
Yeah, well, I've been sick for the past week, so I haven't been into any.
I honestly don't know.
The number just keeps getting bigger, and you can't help but wonder how many people are in this city to get to have that number that got caught under everything.
Yeah.
Well, there were one. I don't know whether you've seen it over there on news, but or here they were showing you a family were in one of these blocks of flats that's collapsed, and they've gone down, and they've heard a baby crying. And when they got down to it, four people in the family have died. And baby, mother's given birth. Umbilical cord's still attached to it.
Really?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
wow.
God's honest truth. And
they saved the baby?
They saved the baby, yeah. So baby's been born when building come down, early hours.
Yeah.
And
amazing.
And luckily survived. But whole family's dead.
Oh.
Two sons, mother and father. Because I know, like anyway, your news shows different to what ours does.
Yeah, it's built, and Rick's pointing out that the building codes are very different, and that's very true. It's like if you spend any time in the Caribbean, then you'll see that the building codes there, they have building permits and everything, but ye gods, some of the things that you see built there are just horrifying. There's just the worst building code in all of America. Those buildings would fail.
Yeah.
The easiest one to get by.
Matt, somebody I know went on holiday to China for a month. Why do you want to go there? I'm going back a few years now. And they were going around, and outside of buildings, instead of scaffolding, guess what they were using?
What?
Bamboo.
Bamboo's pretty strong.
Yeah, but would you like to be stood on it if there were a window out and it's not bolted to the wall or out?
When it's not bolted to the wall, and have it swaying like this all over the place.
Going back to your 199 mile an hour, Bill. That's how I'd be feeling.
Yeah, you would. Your stomach turning upside down. Yeah. Yeah, and anybody who says they took their streetcar and went 160, I just shake my head and say, okay.
Yeah.
Which, when you see me saying okay and shaking my head like this, that's because I don't want to use the F word.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
It's like he was saying, my little Honda, it's got the turbo, it's got, it's all chipped and all that, and it's got 250 or 270 horsepower. It's a good scooting little car, but he said it'll go 110. I didn't know that because I've never gone 110 in that car. 110's really fast, Well,
like I said, that's the only time I've ever done 125, and that was scary. And I've never gone that speed again. I never probably will do.
How do you think I know that limit?
How? Oh, you probably found out yourself, huh?
Yeah. The Honda Odyssey, same thing. Honda Accord, same thing. Some of them are 114, 112. But I used to race when I lived in Florida. So, hold on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I say. It's like I did I've got the chip tuner. I
Yeah.
don't remember the brand, but it was the one everybody told me I had to have. So I can change the tuning on it anytime I want. But what it does more than anything is it opens up the turbo. And I changed
Yeah.
the wastegates on it. And let's see what I do. I put tuner on it. We used the 2-liter motor and then had the turbo installed on the bigger motor. Yeah, but that was from the dealership that way. And the guy that put the tune on it said about 260. So I say somewhere between 250 and 270.
Mm. What is it under what, Bill? What model is it?
Oh, mine's a 2017 two-door Civic.
Civic.
Yeah. I tell you, the little turbo is fun just because off the line, you don't need to, as long as the roads are dry and reasonably sticky, you don't need traction control. When it hits
Yeah.
about 15 miles an hour, then the wheels try to break loose.
Yeah. Right now, I just have a family car. I have a 2000 Honda Accord, 4-door, and a Honda minivan, the Odyssey. 2009.
Is it a turbo?
Neither one. No more turbos for me. I'm a dad.
Well, now the turbo's a dad car.
It is, but the wife needed a Honda Odyssey, which is quite more expensive.
Yes. Oh, that's true. Yeah. And saving money on having a turbo motors. That's easy money to save.
Well, it wouldn't just be a turbo in my case.
Yeah. You do what I did. Okay. Now I need a chip for it. Now I need new
Yep.
wastegates. Now I need.
Yep. Now I need to go put it on the dyno, $300 fee, and yeah.
Hey, Wayne,
we
how you doing today?
Hello, Wayne.
Hey, boys.
All right.
Nice and warm here in Canada today.
What is it?
16 Celsius.
Whew, scorcher.
It's beautiful. It's like
I don't know what that
fall day.
translates to.
Working in t-shirts today.
It's like 50, right? Or 48.
61.
Well, that's warm
61.
when you experience winter over here.
Well, yeah.
Well, it's
especially when
currently
you're at
77
-20.
Fahrenheit here.
Yeah, and it was 55 here in Connecticut.
So that's 25 Celsius.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it's as soon as I break out of this, I'm going to wash the car.
Huh.
Yeah. You got what, 80?
It's 77.
No, I'd rather have 65 though. All year round, 65. You could live with that for your entire lifetime.
No, because you have to wear pants at 65.
Pants are all right. I've seen guys in the wintertime blowing with their snowblower in shorts.
Yeah, I remember last winter one time going out to get gas. I took my wife to the airport on a Saturday morning. Didn't think anything of it. And so I put shorts on, even though it was like 31 degrees outside.
Yeah.
I'm in the car. The car's in a heated garage. And so, pulling out, it's not cold. And got to the airport. And on the way back, I realized I didn't have enough gas. And I had probably an 85% chance of making it home on the gas I had. So I stopped to get gas and about froze my personals off sitting at that gas pump in shorts. Of course, in Texas, every winter, when the temperature goes down, the wind comes up.
Yeah.
Our postman does exactly the same. It's about 2 above freezing outside, and you see him, and he's got shorts on middle of winter, and you're like, aren't you cold? And now wanders off, our postman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When's the last time you saw Mick in long pants? Normally, isn't Mick always in shorts?
Always in shorts. I'm in shorts all.
Always.
I don't know if I've seen him in a long set of pants. Funny. I'm going to have to ask him if he owns a pair.
Yeah, he keeps them with his hobby motor shirt. Oh, that'd be mean though.
So what you been up to, Wayne?
Today did a generator. Jake and I did a generator, and it's been slow. No snow over here. It's terrible. Like it slowed right down. We went from doing 75 snow blowers down to 0. So a couple of generators, and actually working on our lawnmowers and a riding mower to get everything ready for spring.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I'm stacking up the garage now for spring Because I know when spring comes along, everybody will be calling.
Yeah, absolutely.
As it is now, I barely fit all the cars in the garage.
Yeah. But like
And
you
I
said,
refuse. I can't.
come
I'm not
spring,
allowed to
they'll be
keep things
screaming.
outdoors. Yeah, I'll get the homeowners association turned into a city, and the city never really turned into a city. It's still a homeowners association, but now it's got a police force and a water department. So now they give you $200 tickets if they think you're littering the yard. So everything goes in the garage, and my Honda and the Corvette are going to be in there with it somehow or another.
Yeah, you can park them outside, right?
No,
No?
No, that's what he's saying.
no,
If
no.
you
They're
leave them
going to live in the
outside, they think
garage.
you're littering.
Yeah, if I have to knock the kitchen out and make a 2-story garage,
Yeah.
they're going to be in the garage.
Provided they allow you to put up a second story on the garage, right?
Well, no, I've already got a second story.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's a split level house, so it's got like a 2-story house here
Yeah.
with halfway in between a 1-story house sticking out the side.
Okay.
You don't drive the Corvette all the time, right?
Now it comes out when the mood and the weather are both good,
Yep.
and I don't have any points on my license.
Well, how high is your ceiling? Because you could always put a Ben Pack 4-post lift in and then pull it on, lift it up, and then pull the other car under it.
You know, I thought about that and I measured it, and it would only work if the top's down in the Corvette
Nice.
because the garage door, opening up over it,
Yeah.
Oh,
and
okay.
I've got a beam that sticks down about yay far, about 8 or 9 inches.
Yep.
And it's the beam that holds the dining room up above
Yeah.
the garage. So I kind of need that one.
Yeah. Well, and you don't want to have to bump your head either, trying to get out of the Honda.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I'd only be able to go as high as I can go.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not going to be. It's going to be like, 2 inches above the roof of the Honda, so you'll have to squat that much.
Hey, my uncle's got a 4-post in his garage, and I love that lift.
Yeah.
I mean, the
If it,
first time I saw it, it was like, this thing looks expensive, and it turns out they're not.
No.
It's the building around it that's expensive. Having a building tall enough to use it.
yeah. Yeah. I
But he's
watch
got
some
a
other
great big
YouTubers.
garage.
I watch other car YouTubers and stuff, and that's what they use is the Ben Pack, and you can like put these pads underneath and slide them around, and then
No,
take the pads back out.
His has a wheel set. It was sort of funny.
Yeah.
I actually did a video on it. They had a company in who was going to move the lift so that they could get the boat in for the winter and then put it back in front of the door. And it's, a 18-foot ski boat, just a regular little boat, or 20 feet. I don't know how big it is. It fits in the garage anyway. And his garage, they call it the barn. If it had garage doors, it would have enough room for a 6-car garage. And it's tall enough, so he's got the one lift, but he's only got one double garage door. One 16-foot wide garage door, and the car lift is straight in front of it. That's where they put it when they built it. And she says, yeah, they say they want to move everything and do this and add another door and do that and all the other. And I looked at it and I said, let me stare at this for a few minutes. I stared at it for a few minutes and I saw the wheels on the wall when we were working on one of the cars once. And I carried the wheels over and I looked at it and said, somehow these fit on this lift.
Yep.
And then after staring at it for a little while, I realized that when you attach them you lower it most of the way down, you attach them underneath. And when you lower it all the way down, it picks itself up off the ground.
I saw the video. It was a good one.
Yeah, it just picks itself up off the ground,
Yeah.
and then my aunt says, "Here, I'll push it," and it starts. Her little 5'2" self starts heaving it across the garage and say, "Easy, easy." So remember, it gets momentum. You're not going to be able to stop it.
Yep.
And it
Yeah,
doesn't
man, I
get
hear they
lighter
move
when it
easy.
starts rolling. It just seems like it gets lighter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I figure in the spring I'll go back. We'll move the lift over again. I'll pull the boat out, put it back in the outside spot for it, and I'll put the lift back in a spot.
No, that's a nice
Oh.
setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am so jealous of his setup out there. It's just not even funny.
It's a Ben Pack, right?
I think it's I want to say Atlas.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
It's a 4-post lift, and I think it's a 9,000-pound lift.
And is
Yeah.
there any special footings in the garage floor for that where it sits, or it's just the regular slab?
No, gravity holds it there.
Yeah, but the thickness of the concrete, you don't need any special footings underneath it?
It doesn't have any. I don't know if it probably should, but it doesn't
Yeah,
have any.
But
It's not hasn't gone through yet.
Yeah, the engineers tell you need footings, and you really don't need them when you get even on a floating pad. I've seen 4-post lifts that haven't gone to code when they've been installed, and they're still doing the same job. But if you want to put one in a new building, they want these gigantic footings poured into the floor and everything.
Well,
Yeah.
I tell you, he's a Jaguar fanatic. He's got, I think I want to call it an XK. It's an XK or an XF or something like that, but it's a little 2-seater Jaguar.
XJS.
XJS. Thank you. Yeah, I should ask the person from from where they came, right? But yeah, so he's got like 3 or 4 of those things, and I put the convertible up on top of it and put it all the way up, and then put another one just like it underneath it. And they're like, I want to say 2015 or 2016, the cars, and it didn't seem to hurt anything.
So are you saying he's got 3 or 4 Jags?
Oh no, he's got like 7 or 8 of them, but he's got 3 or 4 in the garage.
You know why he's got that many?
Yeah, because there's always one that won't start.
Yeah, every week you drive. I worked with a guy that had 3, and I asked him, "Why do you have so many Jags?" He said, "Number one, I like them. Number two, I drive it for a week, and I got to retune it because I can't drive it the way it's supposed to be driven around here. So it always gets out of tune. So I've always got one ready for the next week."
He's got a much newer one of the 4-door supercharged ones.
Yeah.
It's one of the newer ones. And while I was out there last time, I had to run and pick my wife up at the airport there because she flew into there to meet me. And we were staying at his house. And she says, take the white one. And I said, I don't want to take the white one. That one's, that's an expensive car. I'd rather take the black one. So I'm only out $20,000 if I wreck it because it's old. Yeah, it's old. It's like a 2015, I think, And she says, no, take the white one. You'll love it. And I drove that with the supercharger and all that. Now, I'll tell you what, it's a rocket ship with 4 doors. There's no doubt. The car just feels crazy fast.
Yeah.
But it didn't have the personality.
Yeah.
It just didn't have the Jaguar personality. It felt like a luxury car with a jet engine.
Yeah. With a jet engine.
Nice.
Oh, the thing was crazy strong. And I'm used to a Honda with turbo lag. It'll accelerate pretty good, but it's got turbo lag. So I'm used to stomping the pedal pretty, 3/4 of the way down off the line just to get it rolling. And then you let off of it as the turbo winds up. And this one, you put it 3/4 of the way down one time. And you feel it going beep, 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 beep. And it's like, okay, won't do that anymore. Don't want to wreck the car. Told her I don't want to have to refinance my house to replace their car.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your Honda there, you can. I know there's a way to do it, but I'm so far out of the game. You can have that the solenoid come in and you can have the computer program to turn the VTEC on sooner.
Yes. Well, no, I've got a one of those aftermarket chip computers that I can change the tune anytime. Hondata, that's it. It's got a Hondata chip in it.
Hondata chip. Hondata. Yep.
I live
Tomato,
in Texas.
tomato.
My pronunciations are out
Tomato,
the window.
tomato,
Okay?
potato, yeah.
Potato.
No, I
yeah.
know, and that's
But yeah, and I've got the
my
tuner
car,
for it.
Yeah.
So I could change it, but as it sits right now, it gets about 41 miles per gallon if I baby it. And I'm too old for the spin in the tires, and I've got the Corvette, and it spins the correct set of tires. This one spins the wrong tires when I hit the gas.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why you got
Traction control
go-kart.
kicked on.
Yeah, the Chevy spins the correct set of tires. It spins the back ones. Spinning the front ones just feels unusual.
Yeah.
I actually
It's
missed
like
my-
dancing
my-
with your sister. It just feels funny.
Oh. I missed my Volvo. I've had a 240, and a 740, and was it a 940? Yeah, 940. Those are all rear-wheel drive. Not
Yeah.
Toyota. Volvo. Sorry.
When I started the computer company many years ago, I bought a 240 SX, used, dented. It came free dented, so I didn't have to worry about wrecking it. had one fender dented in, but I bought it for like, I was starting a company on a shoestring. So I gave myself, a few $1,000s in the bank. And I said, if I burn it up and don't make any money, then I'm done. I failed as a computer company. But it managed along, and it found its way in time. After about a year, it was making decent money. But yet that 240SX, when I bought it, I was thinking hatchback, I can carry stuff in, a little bit ugly. I don't care if it gets scratched up, just damn the torpedoes. I'll just beat this thing to death. When I sold it for $5,000 because it was a 6-cylinder rear wheel drive 240SX, and they use them for drift cars.
Oh, yes, they do.
I did not know I had a drift car. All I knew was I had a work car.
And the piston travel on those is much longer travel than most, because they're straight six, right?
Straight six, yeah.
Yeah, that the piston travels is much longer. My dad had 2 of them, but he had the older ones.
Yeah, the guy rattled on for 5 minutes about the engine that I had in my car.
Yep.
And I said, I pointed at the front of the car and I said, I know for sure it's over there, and I put oil in it every 3,000 miles.
Yep.
It's I've got Corvettes and stuff. This Honda does, or I'm sorry, this Nissan does nothing for me.
Yeah.
It does nothing for me. It's a work car. It's a 5-speed work car. That's all it is,
Oh, I'd kill for a 5-speed.
Well, that's what they said. Yeah, like I said, I paid $2,000 for it on a used car lot, or right around $2,000. I don't remember exactly what it was. And it had a dent in the front fender, and it had a dent when I sold it too. I didn't put anything into that car except for tires, gas, and oil.
Yep. I'm gonna sign off, guys. It's always a pleasure. I'll still be listening to you in the ear, but I gotta.
Well, yeah, we should probably break. We're gonna be back Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a hard call on it and say 2:00 Sunday.
2 o'clock Sunday, so 8 o'clock UK time.
Yeah, I don't want to make it any later than that for the UK people.
Yeah, I missed you last Wednesday.
You did, and I was bored.
I likely fell asleep in the shop.
That means it's winter. In the summer, you won't fall asleep. There will be plenty of stuff to work on.
Yeah. Okay.
So wait, we just because Wayne was a little late, I'll let K. Paul tell this one about the mini skirt. Oh no, you can't because you got kids there. You want to do it, Adam?
No, I'm not doing it. I'll leave it to you. You tell them better. I'm shocking at stuff like that.
Hey, you know what? I can go outside, and I remembered it. I have memory issues.
Okay,
so.
we'll let you do it then. No, he's going to make a trip just to tell this bad joke.
Yes.
And it is a bad joke.
It is really bad. All right, Wayne, what's the difference between a lawnmower and a mini skirt?
Haven't got a clue.
You can tell the difference when you put your hand up it, underneath it. I know I said it wrong.
No. Up it sounded
That's
a
why I
little
don't
bit
tell it,
profane,
I'm
but
shocking.
it still put the point across.
You said yours had a lot more smoothness to it. But like I said, my memory is shot. I'll actually remember it probably 5 days from now, perfect, and then I'll forget it altogether at like day 10.
Okay.
When are you?
Go ahead.
In fairness,
When are you going on with that Briggs engine?
Pardon?
Are you going on with that Briggs engine?
Which Briggs? Oh, the one that Jake's building right now
I don't know.
on
Just wanna-
the snowblower.
All right, go.
Yeah,
Read it, honey.
I think he finished up the video. The last part will come out. It runs like a clock. Everything's functioning on it. So now he says, now it's ready to go. I hope we get some snow so I can try it out. But you guys hear that Mix Mower is going to have his own special designed hamburger?
oh yeah.
Okay,
Mixed hamburger.
I talked to the Chubby Butcher, and it's in the works. I think it's going to be we put during the Super Bowl. Chubby Butcher and I got together in our shop, watched the Super Bowl, and we put together some stuff that I think in the video is going to come out pretty special for Mixed Burger.
If it's English, it's got to have some sausage in it.
You never know. Can't let out any of the secrets. It's all the Chubby Butcher. There is collaboration with Mick too on what he likes and what he dislikes.
I think they call them bangers there, right?
Yeah, he did a video on
Yeah,
bangers
sausages
and
already, yeah.
All right, y'all, I got to go.
Yeah.
Okay, take care.
See you later, Paul.
Bye.
Yep.
Thanks.
Hey, Adam, I've got a question. You were here at the beginning. Did the countdown timer come on correctly?
Yes.
Okay, good. I added 10 seconds to the beginning of it to give me time to hit the go live.
Yeah, counter come on all right, yeah.
What time did you start today?
2.
At 2?
2.
I actually started on time twice in a row.
All right.
Getting used to it now.
Yeah.
But I figure we eventually went to 6 o'clock 2 o'clock on Sunday, because I don't want to touch Phil's time on so Saturday's sort of out.
Yeah.
And Friday night, my schedule's really unpredictable. And if I do Thursday, I do it in the evening, and that sort of wipes out the entire UK.
Yeah. Friday night, I think BSS, Brandon at BSS Small Engines, I think he does a live.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, I think so, on Friday nights.
I know. I saw one of his lives the other day, but it were in UK time. It was like about 1 in the morning. So I don't know what time he does them out, but that was just a one-off. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
I haven't been to any of his.
No, I haven't gone on either. I'm just in the shop. Normally, when he's on, I'm watching some kind of fight or something, but I'll flip over. I'll watch some kind of an MMA thing on TV.
But like you say, I think Sunday won't be a bad day, Bill, if you can fit it in. Because nobody else is doing it. Well, I don't think Sunday's a bad day because, like you say, if you can fit it in, everybody's at home, everybody's chilling weekend, and you probably will get more on, and that will probably push your subscribers up and get you monetized.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not so much worried about getting monetized.
No, but it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Change in the beginning anyway.
You ever watch the Happiest Guy, Josh, out of Michigan? Young guy just goes on and says, "I'm home from work," or I'm going to work, and I think he does a video every day or two.
Lost Adam.
Detective did a big promotion for him, for everybody to send him the small engine repair stickers. So I went on his channel, and I've always been supported as a kid, right?
Yeah.
And I noticed he was like 80 subscribers short of hitting 1,000 to get monetized. So I went on one of his lives and I said, "Hey, you guys out there's not many of you watch it, but talk to every one of your friends, talk to your families, talk to anybody you can, and hit the subscribe button for Josh so he can be subscribed by his next live." I went on 2 days later, he had 1,000. He hit 1,000. So he picked up like 80 subscribers. Somebody decided to talk to other people that subscribe just to get the kid to hit it.
The way I look at that a little different though. The way I look at it is if I get them natural and don't get pushed for them, then they're more likely to come watch the channel anyway.
Well, I think it doesn't matter. Once you get a subscriber, it's going to be rare that they're gonna leave you, or that they're not going to watch your videos. They pretty well all watch. It's just weird that 75% of the people that are watching your videos don't hit the subscribe button. You likely got 2,000 or 3,000 people that could be 5,000 that are actually watching some of your videos, but they don't hit that button.
Yeah, and that's true.
It's just weird. Like Jake just had a guy from one of his subscribers from Louisiana called him today. And Jake said, I don't know how he got his phone number, but he got it. And he talked to Jake. And this happens a lot. And the guy said, "I got this problem with my mower and this and that. I just called thinking maybe you could help me out." So Jake went, got the model number off him, pulled up all the parts list, called the guy back, and then said to him, "Send me a picture of your engine right now where you're at." So the guy sent him the picture of his engine, and Jake said, "Take the ignition coil off, turn it the other way around, and everything will be fine." He had it
upside down.
Yeah.
Actually, it's we were actually talking about that in one of the comment sections the other day. It's people don't realize it's I'll use aftermarket parts for a lot of things, but with ignition coils, don't match it up on looks.
No,
it'll bolt in, but that much of a difference will change the timing, and you can't see the timing difference. You can't see the timing difference looking at it. No. You just can't. It's not visible.
No.
You got to make sure you got the part number that matches.
Yeah.
I was doing this backpack blower, and I probably spent an hour because it wanted a 1305A coil, and I couldn't find a 1305A, but I found a 1303, which was identical. And so I probably spent an hour studying the timing and all the measurements on those two coils. Turns out the only difference is the 1303 has a different end piece on it to go to the plug.
Right.
That's the only, but the timing was the same.
Yeah.
So I went and bought the end piece, and then I bought the end piece used to the local guy. He had one that was completely blown to smithereens. And he said the coil was no good on it. He said he'd already stolen the coil, but he put another coil on it just so it was a whole unit. And he said the engine's blown up, but so I just pulled the end piece off and put it on the new coil.
Yeah. Well, that's like Rayleigh. Have you ever watched any of his videos? Rayleigh Swell Engines?
I don't think I'm on that one. I'm not familiar with him. I'll
Check
have to
him
go
out.
look.
He's good. He just did a video on instead of checking coils with an ohm meter and everything, the same simple thing, just pull the kill wire, this and that. You know, and I never made a comment yet, so I got to go back to his channel and comment. The only thing that he missed on it that I think is on some of the coils, you've got the Honda style boot, and that's got a built-in resistor.
Yes.
And we found good coils with a bad boot, where the boot's supposed to be drawing 5,000 ohms, but it's drawing 10, and it's not gonna. It's not. It's not working. You're not getting
5,000 ohms. You could run a resistor plug in it and get away with it.
Yeah,
and run a regular boot.
But when it hits 10,000 ohms of resistance, it's too much resistance. As soon as we change it to a new boot plug, like a new, and even the aftermarket ones work fine. We get them from Stens. We screwed it onto that coil and it fires right up and got tons of spark.
Yeah, and talking inane details that I measured and found, but nobody in the world should ever have to worry about is like, because I studied spark plugs intensely. And if you run a coil intended for a resistor plug and then run a non-resistor plug in it, it'll actually spark earlier in the cycle as the coil goes by.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And for practical purposes, advance the timing to the point where it won't start. Now, it'll run like a rape tape, but it won't start, you know?
Yeah. And I've seen coils where when you buy the coil and your engine would take a regular RJ19LM or a BR2LM NGK plug, when you put this coil on, you got to switch it to an RJ17 or a BR4 2LM. Yes. Don't ask me why. I got to check, but they're telling you to go to a different plug.
Well,
so
yeah,
it's just
and
the heat range.
It's the heat range. The heat range shouldn't be affected by the coil.
Yeah.
That's more affected by the shape of the combustion chamber. But what will happen is the coil itself can give you a hotter spark and burn up the electrode on the coil, on the plug. And also you might be switching from a non-resistor to a resistor plug.
Yeah.
Which it changes the timing only in respect to the fact that, you know, you build up electricity as it spins by, you know, as your magnet spins by the coil pack, it builds up electricity and it has to reach a certain point before it sparks. And changing the plug itself will change the point where it sparks.
Yeah.
As I say, a resistor plug in a non-resistor engine won't spark until it's really late in the cycle. But a non-resistor plug that on an engine that's intended to have a resistor plug with the coil, it'll spark really early in the cycle, so it changes the timing.
Yeah. Well, what I always wondered, if I don't know that coil's on a machine when it comes, and the parts list says it's supposed to be an RJ19, for example, right? But it's got an RJ17 in it. And then we look it up, we say, geez, it's got the wrong plug-in. I wonder if that's going to make a difference. And we put the RJ19 in, or the equivalent NGK, and it runs better. But I don't know if that coil has been replaced at any time. You know, if it looks like it's a new one, to where they're saying, no, you should be running the RJ17 instead.
Yeah. You're sparking earlier with a 17 than you are with a 19. So you're doing what race car drivers would do. You're advancing the timing just a touch.
Yeah.
To get the spark that you want. You're advancing. And now going from a 19 to a 17, you're advancing at half a nothing, but half a nothing might make a difference.
Yeah.
Anybody who's ever tuned a two-stroke carburetor knows that a tune of that much is the difference between not starting at all and running like gangbusters.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we've been on for 2 hours, and then we've been on for another half hour after that.
Yeah.
Been on a long time today.
We've been on a long time today. Yeah, and we're going to be back Sunday anyway.
All right. Hopefully I can see you on Sunday. Adam, Bill, take
Yep.
care.
Yep. Catch you as and when, Wayne.
Take care.
Bill, I'll see
Okay,
you
we're going
Sunday.
at 2 o'clock. That's all about you in the UK, Adam, so I'm going to expect you.
Yeah, 8 o'clock our time. Anybody in UK watching this?
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
see.
going to I'll put up the little notification.
Yeah.
Probably Saturday afternoon. I'll put it up a day ahead of time.
And I'll set an alarm in the garage so it wakes me up at 2.
Wakes me. Right, I'm going. I'll see you
What
later.
time is it there now, Wayne?
Take care, guys. Bye.
See you later.
What time you got there now, Wayne?
Here it's almost it's 25 after 5.
Yeah, you're an hour ahead of me.
Yeah.
So it'd be 3 o'clock there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Central Time.
Yeah, I would have come on earlier, but we had an early supper today.
Okay.
Take care, Bill.
And